Chapter 86. Ning Cheng did not answer. He was not in the mood to answer. He had already checked his injuries, and understood that his meridians were completely broken, and his dantian was completely cracked. This kind of terrible injury, not to mention him, even if it was the top place of an advanced level continent, they would not be able to treat it. To put it simply, he was already a cripple. Not to mention cultivation, wanting to keep his life was already extremely difficult. In the confrontation with the huge black shriveled palm in the sandpit, he had crazily burned his essence blood, and even went all out to detonate a few low-leveled artifacts, and was able to blow up the black shriveled palm. But at the same time, he was also hit by the terrible explosion. If not for the inner armor that he was wearing, perhaps his body would have already been blown out of shape. The joy of escaping from death, in an instant, disappeared completely. Bursts of pain came from his chest. He could not help but cough a few times. Ji Luofei was a smart person. After Ning Cheng spoke a few words, he turned silent, followed by Ning Cheng's continuous coughing. She understood that Ning Cheng's injuries might not be optimistic. "Where are you planning to go?" Ji Luofei carefully asked. Ning Cheng was silent for a long time, and then said, "I originally wanted to go to the Falling Star Academy, but now I think, Ning Cheng wanted to give the things to Ji Luofei, so that Ji Luofei could help him deliver them. Originally, Ning Cheng had said that he would give the things to Ko Hong if he had the opportunity. But because of Ko Hong's map, he had obtained a lot of opportunities to live. If he did not help Ko Hong fulfill his last wish, he felt that it would be wrong. He thanked Ko Hong from the bottom of his heart. The map that Ko Hong gave him looked very simple, but in fact, this map was made up of many bones stacked on top of each other. This kind of great kindness, he should definitely repay it. But when he thought of Ji Luofei being forced to marry someone in the Falling Star Academy, he did not want Ji Luofei to return to her original place. "You don't have to worry, the Hua continent has a lot of healing pills, and now we also have some spirit stones. Your injuries can be easily healed." Ji Luofei comforted Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was just about to speak, when he felt the mysterious yellow bead in his zifu suddenly start to rotate. An unrecognizable aura came out from the mysterious yellow bead. This aura in the slowest form began to reshape his meridians and dantian. As this kind of aura integrated into his meridians, Ning Cheng unexpectedly slowly became aware that the mysterious yellow bead was also gradually merging with him. That light yellow aura changed according to his will, and it was already affecting him. Was this the mysterious yellow origin? That's right. This was definitely the mysterious yellow origin that he had never been able to obtain before. Ning Cheng was so pleasantly surprised that he almost shouted out loud. He had thought that he could only feel the mysterious yellow origin when his cultivation level was very high, but he did not expect that he would be able to feel the mysterious yellow origin even though he only had the cultivation of true condensation realm. If he had known that all his meridians and dantian would have ruptured, then he would have been able to mobilize the mysterious yellow origin and fuse it into his body. Perhaps he would have already done so. Cultivating inside the mysterious yellow bead was several times faster than cultivating outside. The reason why he did not dare to enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate was because he was afraid that the aura of the mysterious yellow bead would be exposed. Even when he came to the Hua continent this time, he was still somewhat worried. He was afraid that some very high-level experts would be able to see through the mysterious yellow bead in his body. Now that the mysterious yellow origin was stimulated, it was able to transform and repair his meridians. Once his meridians were completely transformed, he was sure that the mysterious yellow bead would also be integrated with him, and no one would be able to detect it. Ning Cheng's happiness only lasted for the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, before he once again started to worry. According to the speed at which the mysterious yellow origin was transforming his meridians and repairing his dantian, once his meridians and dantian were completely transformed and repaired, it would take at least 3 months. For more than 3 months, he did not have any strength. If he was in seclusion, then it would not have mattered, but in this desert, what should he do? With Ji Luofei's strength, she absolutely could not guarantee the safety of the two of them. Should he find a place in the desert to go into seclusion and cultivate, or should he continue on his way? Ning Cheng soon abandoned the idea of choosing an immortal cave in the desert. rather than looking for an immortal cave in the desert, it would be better to continue on their way. In this kind of place like the Thunderfall Desert for a few months, anything could happen. There was simply no safe place in this place. Whether they stopped or walked, it would be equally dangerous. It would be better to speed up their journey. Maybe in 2 months, they would already be out of the desert. Seeing that Ning Qing did not answer, Ji Luofei seemed to be able to feel Ning Cheng's mood and secretly decided that no matter what, she would help Ning Qing heal his injuries. You wait. Just as Ji Luofei was about to get up and continue on their way, Ning Qing told her the direction that he knew and let Ji Luofei continue on their way. Ji Luofei carried Ning Qing on her back without stopping for even a moment. Ning Qing on Ji Luofei's back allowed the mysterious yellow origin to constantly transform his meridians, as well as repair his dantian. Unfortunately, he was simply unable to intervene in this process. Otherwise, he would have definitely done everything in his power to speed up the healing process. Along the way, Ji Luofei, in addition to avoiding a few simple desert whirlpools, as well as a few low-level desert monstrous beasts, the two of them unexpectedly did not encounter any other dangers. 2 months passed by, when Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei heard a faint singing voice, and then saw the yellow haze in front of them dissipate. The two of them knew that the Thunderfall Desert was already behind them, and that they had finally come out of the Thunderfall Desert. We've arrived at the Hua continent. Ji Luofei looked at the distant hazy mountain range, as her original hesitation disappeared. Now that Ning Cheng was seriously injured, she had to help Ning Qing take care of him, so there was no need for them to separate. Ning Qing coughed a few times. Ji Luofei quickly patted Ning Cheng's back and said, "Let's first find a place to stay, and then I'll help you look for healing herbs." Ning Qing quickly said, "Luofei, you don't have to help me look for healing herbs. I'm aware of my own injuries. In fact, I've already started to heal myself. At most in a month and a half, my injuries will definitely recover." But Ji Luofei did not believe Ning Cheng's words. For the past 2 months, Ning Cheng had been coughing. Moreover, his true essence had also not been restored. How could she believe that Ning Cheng could heal himself? At this time, the singing voice in the distance was getting closer as a beast carriage came over. The one who was singing was the driver of the beast carriage. As the driver of the beast carriage arrived at the side of Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei, and took the initiative to stop, "Do the two of you want to take the beast carriage to the Sha Pai town? My carriage is heading back to the Sha Pai town. If you want to go, then I can give you a ride." Ji Luofei was just about to refuse, as she was not slow while carrying Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng pulled her back and said, "We will first take the beast carriage to the Sha Pai town. You should also take a rest." Regarding Ning Cheng's words, Ji Luofei never refuted, and immediately said to the driver, "In that case, we will take your beast carriage to the Sha Pai town." The driver quickly got off the carriage, opened the door and said, "The two of you, please come in." Ning Cheng saw that there was already a young woman inside the carriage, and felt a bit strange. The driver seemed to know that Ning Cheng was feeling strange, and quickly said, "My carriage is going to the Thunderfall Desert's Peng Estate relay station, so there are only a few people on the way back." Ning Cheng came to understand, originally this was a return carriage. Just like Li Xiao's carriage, there was an empty carriage. After the driver saw Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei sit down, he quickly closed the door, and once again drove the beast carriage away. Generally speaking, for the people on the edge of the desert, he never talked about the price. When these people got off, the price they gave would not be low. If he talked about the price, then not only would it leave a bad impression on the people, but it was possible that he would get even less. He had been pulling carriages in this area for a long time, and was already aware of this rule. When it was good, he only needed to pull a single person on the way back, and the amount of gold coins he would get would be much more than when he pulled a carriage full of people. The young woman sitting inside the carriage was wearing a set of black tights, with a thin veil covering her face. Ning Cheng glanced at her. She had the cultivation of Qi gathering 9th level. Even if she was sitting, he could see that this woman had a very good figure. Her clothes outlined her curves very clearly, plus her skin was also very good. This was definitely a beauty. But when she saw that Ning Cheng still needed Ji Luofei to help him get into the carriage, she even coughed a few times, and her eyes were filled with disdain. When her eyes swept towards the spear that Ji Luofei was holding for Ning Cheng, the disdain in her eyes became even more intense. although the spear was wrapped in a cloth, but she could still see the broken spear hilt, which she could still see. Ji Luofei was never a talkative person, and even if she wanted to talk, she would only talk to Ning Cheng. Inside the carriage, there was another black-robed woman. She just glanced at her, and no longer paid any attention to her. Ning Cheng, of course, would also not pay attention to a woman in the same carriage. Although there were 3 people in the same carriage, but it was very quiet, other than the occasional singing of the driver and the hoofbeats of the stone-horned beast, there was no other sound. Chapter 87. Ning Cheng could feel that his meridians had already recovered by more than 90%, and even his dantian was becoming more and more perfect. He believed that as long as he had a little more time, his meridians would be completely reshaped. At that time, even if his cultivation did not improve, his true essence would be much thicker and smoother than before. Ji Luofei was somewhat puzzled as she looked at this black-robed woman. They were about to reach Sha Pai town. Why did they want to get off here? The black-robed woman gave Ning Cheng a blank look and muttered, "You don't know what's good for you, but you still don't know what's good for you." Ji Luofei really wanted this pill, but after she heard Ning Cheng's words, she had no choice but to refuse. "Thank you, but we do not need it." Time quickly passed by. Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei lived in seclusion in the carriage driver's courtyard, and in a blink of an eye half a month had passed by. Ning Cheng was moved in his heart. The courtyard in front of him was really not small. Not only was it not small, but the surroundings were also relatively spacious. Living here was much more comfortable than living in the rest stop. But this kind of silence did not last long, as Ning Cheng's stifled coughs broke the silence of the carriage. His meridians had not yet completely closed, but Ning Cheng was already aware of the formidable feeling he was feeling. "Many thanks, we are not particular about living here." Ning Cheng quickly thanked him. For him, living in the home of a coachman who had never cultivated before was much better than living in a rest stop with people coming and going. But the more essential difference was that after the mysterious yellow origin had completely transformed his meridians, they were no longer in the fragile state they were in before. Even his corporeal body was a lot tougher than before. Not knowing how much time had passed, Ning Cheng's whole body shook. The next moment his face revealed a look of ecstasy. When the sky was turning dark, the voice of the carriage driver arrived. "We are about to arrive at the Sha Pai town." The carriage driver spoke in a very casual manner. "Just give me something. If it is not convenient, then it doesn't matter if you don't give it. My carriage is just passing by, so it doesn't take much effort." This courtyard was really good. The carriage driver, in order to thank Ning Cheng for the many gold coins, deliberately left the largest house for Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei. Although his cultivation did not advance, but on the contrary regressed, but it did not matter, because Ning Cheng clearly understood the reason why his cultivation had regressed. Not only were his meridians much wider than before, they were also much tougher. The coachman was somewhat excited as he received the gold coins from Ning Cheng, and spoke in a somewhat careful manner. "My family's courtyard is very big, and there are also many empty houses. If you don't mind, you can stay here. If you want to go to a rest stop, the Sha Pai rest stop in the south of the town is the largest." The beast carriage ran all the way, and apart from the driver taking a short break, it didn't stop at all. That black-robed woman seemed to have been rejected by Ning Cheng once, causing her to feel somewhat unhappy in her heart. As such, she did not bother to speak again. The coachman quickly said, "This is the courtyard of my house. Friend, if you cross the road in front, you will reach the main street. It is not far. My beast carriage is not allowed to go to the main street. It can only be parked in front of my courtyard." Thinking like this, Ning Cheng subconsciously glanced at the pill in the hands of the black-robed woman. When he saw the pill in the black-robed woman's hand, he was extremely shocked. It was actually a high-grade level 3 spiritual nourishment pill. The coachman's eyes lit up, but he immediately said, This is too much." The remaining 10% of his broken meridians, in the shortest time possible, were completely reshaped at a speed that was dozens of times faster than before. The last few cracks in his dantian were washed away by the mysterious yellow origin chi, and in just a twinkling of an eye, there was not even half a scar left. Letting out a sigh, Ning Cheng put away the spear. He felt that he should first inform Ji Luofei. He could not let Ji Luo Fei continue to worry about him. The black-robed woman looked at Ning Cheng, and then looked at Ji Luo Fei. After thinking for a while, the disdain in her eyes also gradually disappeared. She guessed that she had guessed wrong, that the person inside the carriage with her should not be a husband and wife, but rather a brother and sister relationship. Ning Cheng looked somewhat vicissitudes of life, and estimated that he was not young, he should be the elder brother. For Ning Cheng, gold coins really did not have much use, as he had nearly 100 gold coins in his hand. Ning Cheng did not know what was going on at this moment, but he knew that this was definitely his opportunity. At this moment, how could he be distracted? At this moment he almost put all of his concentration into the reshaping of his meridians. I really did not guess it. Is your elder brother seriously injured or seriously ill? After the black-robed woman found that her guess was correct, her mood became very good. Under the guidance of Ning Cheng, Ji Luo Fei arranged a level 1 concealment defensive array. As for the spiritual gathering array, Ning Cheng did not dare to arrange it. Once the spiritual gathering array was arranged, the spiritual qi would start to flow towards them, which would not be good for them. There were very few cultivators in the Shapai town. As such a level 1 concealment array for Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei, it was more than enough. Otherwise, how could a woman like Ji Luo Fei be together with such a sick ghost? After the coachman left, Ning Cheng took out a pile of array flags and gave them to Ji Luo Fei. Luo Fei, we will stay here for a month and a half. I will have to heal myself. After this month and a half passes, we will then leave. These array flags are for arranging concealment and defensive array flags. My Zifu is seriously injured, and my spiritual sense is very weak. I will tell you about it now. You can arrange it. Ji Luo Fei knew that Ning Cheng was seriously injured and would not be able to go further, as such staying in the Shapai town was the best choice. Luo Fei, you can cultivate here. Try not to go to the lively places in the Shapai town. As for my injuries, I am well aware of them. There will definitely not be any problems. After Ning Cheng arranged the array formations, he still repeatedly told Ji Luo Fei. He was afraid that Ji Luo Fei would be worried about him and would not listen to his words, and take the initiative to go to the town to look for pills to heal his injuries. Ning Cheng had just stood up. When he frowned, he once again saw that black-robed woman. But at this time, that black-robed woman was covered with blood, and was anxiously standing in the courtyard as she spoke to Ji Luo Fei. The coachman seemed to know that Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei were not ordinary people. Since he had arranged for the two of them to stay in his courtyard, he had never come to disturb them. Besides, this black-robed woman only had the cultivation of qi gathering 9th level. How could she have any good pills? Ning Cheng knew that he was not only seriously injured, but also that his meridians were starting to reshape under the influence of the mysterious yellow origin. How could he take a pill at this time? Even if it was an immortal pill, he did not want to use it. On this day, Ning Cheng was calculating how long it would take for his meridians to be completely reshaped, when he felt the flow of the mysterious yellow origin qi suddenly accelerate. Moreover, the speed at which his meridians were being reshaped also suddenly accelerated. All right, how many gold coins? Ning Cheng nodded and asked. The toughness was what surprised Ning Cheng the most, the tenacity of his meridians. It meant that he would be able to withstand the pressure and the potential for development. In the future he would be able to climb to a higher realm. No, thank you. Ning Cheng directly refused the black-robed woman's spiritual enhancement pill. No matter what aspect he considered it from, he did not want to talk to this woman. Ning Cheng raised his hand, and the broken spear immediately fell into his palm. He almost wanted to test the might of his spear with all his strength. I have a healing pill here. I will give it to you. You can rest assured, as long as you take this pill, your elder brother's injuries will definitely be healed. The black-robed woman suddenly took out a white pill and handed it to Ji Luo Fei. He is seriously injured. Ji Luo Fei was not used to ignoring people. Now that someone else asked her, she had to answer once again. The meridians in his body were emitting bursts of ka sounds, as well as the gurgling sound of the true essence flowing through his body. Ning Cheng could even hear it. Wait, I will get off here. The black-robed woman suddenly called out to the coachman. Ji Luo Fei had just helped Ning Cheng up when the coachman opened the door. For a Qi-gathering 9th level cultivator to casually give out a rank 3 spiritual enhancement pill, it showed that this woman was definitely not ordinary. For such an unusual woman to ride in a beast carriage, it was even more strange. Ning Cheng could only use a little of his spiritual sense. He could vaguely feel that this woman was concealing her own aura. After the black-robed woman got off, the beast carriage, in less than the time it took for an incense stick to burn, entered the Sha Pai town, and then stopped in front of a courtyard house. "You should be brother and sister, right?" The black-robed woman took the initiative to ask. "Where is this?" Ning Cheng looked at the courtyard house, but did not see any streets, nor did he see any rest stop. His cultivation had regressed, because his meridians were simply not comparable to before. If his true essence was compared to flowing water, then his meridians had changed from a stream to a river. As long as he continued to cultivate, his strength at true condensation first level would be several times stronger than before. Ji Luo Fei had never taken anything from a stranger, but when she heard the black-robed woman say that this white pill could help Ning Cheng recover, she immediately wanted to take it. However, she still looked at Ning Cheng and wanted to know what Ning Cheng thought. Ning Cheng knew the thoughts of this coachman, but he still had a good impression of him. He took out a handful of gold coins and handed it to the coachman and said, "These are for you." Ji Luo Fei felt that Ning Cheng was slowly recovering, and her nervous mind also gradually relaxed a bit. At the same time, her cultivation also advanced by leaps and bounds. Not only was her spiritual sense restored, but her cultivation had also advanced from the early stages of Qi gathering 5th level to the peak of the 5th level. In her view, although Ji Luo Fei was disfigured, but regardless of which aspect, Ning Cheng was not worthy of her. If she could restore her appearance, then even she might not be as good as this woman in front of her. Ji Luo Fei's face turned slightly red. She seemed to be overly worried about Ning Cheng. Now that the black-robed woman asked, she could only non-committally give a low sound. She was too embarrassed to explain the relationship between her and Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was too lazy to pay attention to this black-robed woman, while Ji Luo Fei was completely worried about Ning Cheng and did not speak much. Ning Cheng stuffed all the gold coins into the hands of the coachman and said, "If we had not met you, it would have been very difficult for us to reach the Sha Pai town so quickly. You tell me which rest stop is better." Chapter 88. Ning Cheng could feel that this black-robed woman had suffered a serious injury. Fortunately, her healing pills were also good, as such her injuries were already improving. "Are you feeling better?" Ji Luo Fei saw Ning Cheng come out. Moreover, his complexion was much better than before. She quickly came forward to support Ning Cheng and asked in a pleasantly surprised voice, "Much better. I think that we can leave this place in 2 days." Ning Cheng looked at Ji Luo Fei and smiled. If not for studying the Imperial Jade Seal, perhaps he would have already planned to leave. Ji Luo Fei remembered the black-robed woman on the side, and said to Ning Cheng with some hesitation, because she was besieged, she was seriously injured. Now that she has no place to hide, she could only return to the Sha Pai town. She did not dare to enter the rest stop in the Sha Pai town, but she happened to see me here, so... Ning Cheng finally understood he had not guessed wrong. This woman really was troublesome. He did not know where the pills on her body came from. It was estimated that she had revealed her wealth and ended up being besieged. For a woman like her who only had the cultivation of Qi-gathering realm, to casually take out a spiritual growth pill to a stranger for the first time, sooner or later she would be targeted. Although Ning Cheng did not care about these things, it did not mean that others would not care. Now that this black-robed woman really met with trouble, Ning Cheng did not even need to ask. He could guess that this woman must have found her pills in another place and ended up in an accident. This woman looked deep and incomparably shrewd, but turned out to be an idiot. Moreover, a woman with such a hot figure like her, wandering outside, and wearing such tight clothes to set off her figure, it was obvious that she did not have any experience at all. "This elder brother, I can only stay for 2 days at most. As long as you take me in for 2 days, once my injuries are healed, I can escape." When the black-robed woman saw Ning Cheng frown, she no longer had the disdain that she had when she first saw Ning Cheng. She had already seen it clearly. Between Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei, it was Ning Cheng who called the shots. Ji Luofei looked at Ning Qing expectantly. She hoped that Ning Qing would take in this black-robed woman, firstly because this black-robed woman had healing pills on her. Of course, when this woman gave them healing pills for no reason, although Ning Qing did not want it, Ji Luofei was still very grateful in her heart. She was a person who knew how to repay kindness. Ning Qing nodded. Well, you can stay here for 2 days. After 2 days, we will also be leaving this place. That's great, thank you. My name is Zhu Mu Er. I don't know the names of the two of you. When the black-robed woman heard that Ning Qing wanted to shelter her for 2 days, she immediately became happy. Just call me Luofei. Ji Luofei quickly replied. I am called Ning Xiaocheng, Luofei. You take Zhu Mu Er to the rightmost room to rest. I want to go into seclusion for 2 days. Ning Cheng was not willing to have a deep friendship with this Zhu Mu Er, but at the same time he also wanted to go into seclusion to study the Imperial Jade Seal. As for taking in Zhu Mu Er, Ning Cheng was not worried at all. With Zhu Mu Er's cultivation, she was able to escape unscathed to this place, which clearly showed that her opponent was only at this level. Now that he had recovered his cultivation, his strength was even higher than before. Even if Zhu Mu Er's enemies came looking for him, he would not be afraid. You want to go into seclusion? Zhu Mu Er looked at Ning Cheng in amazement. In her opinion, Ning Cheng was just a sickly invalid. A sickly invalid dared to say that he wanted to go into seclusion? Fortunately, she was clear that she was asking for shelter. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not answer her, she did not dare to speak any more nonsense. Ji Luofei felt that Ning Cheng did not like this Zhu Mu Er, so she quickly took Zhu Mu Er to the rightmost room in the house, and told Zhu Mu Er not to disturb Ning Cheng. Sister Luofei, you can rest assured, I do not have enough time to heal myself. How would I have the time to disturb your elder brother? Thank you for taking me in. If you have the time, I will take you to my house to play. Zhu Mu Er's suspicions came quickly, but disappeared even faster. After settling Zhu Mu Er down, Ji Luofei once again returned to Ning Cheng's room. Ning Cheng stopped Ji Luofei's words. Luofei, from now on just call me Ning Xiaocheng. Before that woman called Zhu Mu Er did not come, I did not tell you about it. In that carriage, Zhu Mu Er casually took out a level 3 spiritual enhancement pill, which shows that her background is not ordinary. Both of us do not have any backing, so we should try to minimize our contact with such people. Okay, I understand. Ji Luofei nodded as she approached Ning Cheng and grabbed Ning Cheng's wrist. She wanted to see if Ning Cheng's injuries were any better. Ning Cheng patted Ji Luofei's hand and said, Luofei, my injuries have basically recovered. You do not have to worry about it. I was just going to talk to you about this matter. These next few days I will have to go into seclusion to study some things. You also have to seize the time to cultivate. Hearing Ning Cheng say that his injuries were almost healed, Ji Luofei was overjoyed and quickly replied, I know, you go into seclusion first. When you come out I will come back again. After Ji Luofei left, Ning Cheng arranged a few concealment array formations in his room and then took out the Imperial Jade Seal. The Imperial Jade Seal had a pale golden color on the outside and was very exquisite, but when held in his hands it was very heavy. Ning Cheng had also seen some pictures of Imperial Jade Seals. Generally, the Imperial Jade Seals of a country were engraved with a dragon-shaped jade carving. But the Imperial Jade Seal in his hands only had a bird engraved on it that Ning Cheng did not recognize. Below the bird was a small cube, and the bottom of the cube was engraved with the words Lan Yi Country. Ning Cheng touched the 4 words Lan Yi Country with his hand, but could not feel anything special about it. His spiritual sense swept onto the Imperial Jade Seal, but could not sweep into the Imperial Jade Seal. Ning Cheng tried to use his spiritual sense to refine the Imperial Jade Seal, but even after half a day, the Imperial Jade Seal did not have even the slightest reaction. It did not seem to be an artifact. If it was not an artifact, Ning Cheng was sure that his spiritual sense would be able to penetrate into the Imperial Jade Seal, but his spiritual sense was not able to penetrate into it. Ning Cheng took out his spear, and using 10% of his true essence, he struck the Imperial Jade Seal with his spear. When the spear hit the Imperial Jade Seal, it gave out a sound similar to hitting a piece of leather. There was no clear sound. The Imperial Jade Seal also did not budge. not to mention opening the Imperial Jade Seal, there was not even a trace of it. Such a hard Imperial Jade Seal, this kind of hardness was definitely an artifact. Ning Cheng once again took the Imperial Jade Seal in his hands and began to refine it. 2 days passed by in a flash, but the Imperial Jade Seal in Ning Cheng's hands did not change even half a bit. It still remained motionless. Ning Cheng dispiritedly put down the Imperial Jade Seal in his hands. He simply had no way to open the Imperial Jade Seal. In desperation, Ning Cheng once again put away the Imperial Jade Seal and opened the door. You finally came out of your seclusion. I have to leave, so I just happened to say hello to you. This time I really have to thank you, although those people thought that I did not return to the Shapai town, but I am still very grateful to you. Zhu Mu'er and Ji Luofei were already sitting outside talking. Seeing Ning Cheng come out, Zhu Mu'er took the initiative to stand up and greet him. The veil covering Zhu Mu'er's face had already been removed, revealing a delicate oval face, coupled with a pair of not-so-small eyes. It made her look very pretty. Then I wish you a pleasant journey, Ning Cheng quickly said. Zhu Mu'er waved her hand and said, Don't worry, didn't you say that you were going to leave this place? Where are you going? If it's along the way, then we might as well go together. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to answer, Zhu Mu'er took the initiative and said, I am going to the Mo-Zhe City's Falling Star 5-Star Academy, but I have to first go to the Shichin City and take the airship there. If you want to go to these 2 places, then you can come with me. What are you going to do in the Falling Star Academy? Ning Cheng had originally planned to go to the Falling Star Academy first, and then go to the Clear Sky Academy. Now that Zhu Mu'er was coincidentally going to the Falling Star Academy, it made him even more cautious. Zhu Mu'er once again gave Ning Cheng a blank look and said, Ning Xiao Cheng, if I were you, I would have already taken my sister to the Mo-Zhe City. The Mo-Zhe City's 5-star academies are recruiting students in order to participate in the upcoming tournament of the 5-star academies. Of course, I am going there to participate in the recruitment and then enter the 5-star academies to prepare for the tournament. Although your qualifications are ordinary, but I can see that Luo Fei's qualifications are very good, although her cultivation level is not enough to participate in the tournament, but she has the opportunity to enter the outer court of the 5-star academies. If you take Luo Fei with you, in this kind of place where even birds don't shit, you will never be able to make progress and will always be at the bottom. Ning Cheng glanced at the curvy Zhu Mu'er and said, Miss Zhu presumably comes from a rich family. We and Luo Fei are people who have never seen the world, although we also want to go to the Mo-Zhe City, but we will have to walk slowly. Miss Zhu can go first, we can walk slowly. Seeing Ning Cheng glance at her hot skin-tight clothes, Zhu Mu'er blushed and said, You wait a minute. Saying that, she quickly entered the room. After a short while, when Zhu Mu'er came out again, she had already changed into an ordinary woman's long dress. Then she proudly looked at Ning Cheng and said, Now you should not have any pressure, right? I am not happy with my father saying that I am too delicate and willful, and that I am too dependent, so I came out to do something for him to see. But when he saw that I was selected by the 5-star academies, and then obtained the top few places in the tournament, he would know that I, Zhu Mu'er, am not what he thought. Ning Cheng then came to understand, originally this Zhu Mu'er came out to prove that she was the miss. This Zhu Mu'er's father really has a good eye, he really did not misjudge his own daughter. I will take you to the Mo-Zhe City, at most it will only take a few days, if you go by yourself, maybe you will have to walk for a few months. Zhu Mu'er saw that Ning Cheng was in a daze and proudly said again. Ning Cheng felt relieved in his heart, since that was the case, then he decided to follow Zhu Mu'er to the Mo-Zhe City. In the Hua continent, flying on a flying sword was much more dangerous than in the Ping continent. Chapter 89. Zhu Mu'er really did not brag about the route, nor did she lie. Under her leadership, the 3 of them only took 2 days before they arrived at the Shichin City and boarded the airship heading towards the Mo-Zhe City. Although there were no booths, but the airship's main hall had a variety of services, there was also a sound tablet broadcasting. It looked very good. Those who could board the airship were relatively wealthy cultivators, because the airship did not accept gold coins and only accepted spirit stones. Ning Cheng looked at the airship's main hall filled with cultivators, and knew that the cultivators from the Hua continent were much richer than the Ping continent. Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei's spirit stones were paid by Zhu Mu Er. Zhu Mu Er showed her generosity and did not allow Ji Luo Fei to use spirit stones to pay for the airship. The three of them chose a table near the side of the cabin and sat down. The airship's flight time was 2 days. For a cultivator, sitting for 2 days was really nothing. Most of the cultivators in the main hall were talking about the recruitment of the 5-star academies. Ning Cheng listened for a while and had some understanding about it. Because the 5-star academies were recruiting students in the Moze city, almost all the cultivators from the Hua continent had the opportunity to go. In addition to the Hua continent, there were also some cultivators from the Ping continent and the Yuan continent. Because there were a lot of people, some of the 3- and 4-star academies in the Hua continent and many of the good sects had also come to the Moze city to recruit students. After all, the 5-star academies only had so many students, many of them could not join the 5-star academies, so they chose the 4-star academies, or some of the big sects. This kind of scene reminded Ning Cheng of the Clear Heart Academy in the Nanyuan city. It seems that no matter where, as long as the academy was recruiting students, it would attract a large number of people. Zhu Mu Er looked at the cultivators who were talking and spoke to herself with disdain. A group of people who do not know the immensity of heaven and earth, they think that by going to the Moze city they would be selected by the advanced level academies. It is simply a dream. If the advanced level academies were so easy to enter, then they would not be called advanced level academies. Ning Cheng was too lazy to speak. Zhu Mu Er's tone was to go to the Moze city to participate in the advanced level academy selection, as long as she went. As for the rest of the people, it would be best if they did not go. Ji Luo Fei, who usually did not speak much, suddenly asked, "Elder Sister Mu Er, in the 5-star academies, if there are people with outstanding results, would they be selected to go to an intermediate class continent?" Ning Cheng immediately understood that Ji Luo Fei was helping him ask this question. He had asked Ji Luo Fei about this matter before. When Zhu Mu Er heard Ji Luo Fei call her as Elder Sister Mu Er, she seemed to be extremely happy and even answered carefully, "This time the tournament of the 5-star academies is to promote a 6-star academy in the Hua continent. Students with excellent results in the tournament would definitely be selected to go to the intermediate level continents. Moreover, even if they were not selected to go to a mid-level continent, the rewards for the top few would still be incomparably amazing. I heard that the first place will not only be rewarded with a medium-grade spiritual artifact, but also a storage bag with a circumference of 10 feet, an essence-building pill and 3,000 high-grade spirit stones." Ning Cheng, who was standing at the side, when he heard about the storage bag, immediately moved in his heart. His storage bag was only a meter in diameter, as such it simply could not fit the spear in his hands. If he had a storage bag with a circumference of 10 feet, he would definitely be able to store the spear in his hand. The price of the storage bag was very high. Every time it was doubled, the price of the storage bag would increase by more than 10 times. Ning Cheng knew that he would not be able to afford a storage bag at this moment. Heavens, 3,000 high-grade spirit stones, that is equivalent to 300,000 low-grade spirit stones, that's a lot. When someone heard Zhu Mu Er's words, he quickly exclaimed, "Compared to an essence-building pill, a medium-grade spiritual artifact and a storage bag with a circumference of 10 feet, 3,000 high-grade spirit stones should not be considered much, right?" Another person interjected, "In fact, these are not the biggest rewards. I heard that the top 20 would have the opportunity to go to the Angry Axe Valley. There are many high-level spiritual grasses piled up like a mountain. Just by walking a few steps, you would be able to find a top-quality crafting material. What is the Angry Axe Valley? How come I have never heard of it?" This cultivator who was talking endlessly was interrupted by a question from the side. "I do not know, I only heard it from others. I only know that there are many good things here, moreover it is not in the Hua continent. I know that you are talking nonsense. If there really was such a place, then there would have already been a powerhouse who would have gone there. Why would they wait for others?" As the two cultivators argued, one of them explained, "The Angry Axe Valley really does exist. I have also heard about it, but I also heard that there is a cultivation level restriction in order to enter. Moreover, this valley is because of an axe that fell from the void. After that axe fell into the valley, it brought with it an aura similar to spiritual chi. Afterwards, there were more and more treasures here, and more people went in to explore these treasures. But it is very dangerous inside, and more than half of the people who went in perished. After countless years, the Angry Axe Valley has a restriction on who can go in, and not everyone can go in. What you mean is, there are also some powerhouses relics here. I have also heard about it. Whether it is true or not, I do not know. Besides, even if it is true, we do not have a chance. If the entire Hua continent's top 20 were so easy to obtain, then you would have already become a core disciple of a 5-star academy. Not only from the Hua continent, I heard that this time the 5-star academies have also recruited many talented disciples from the Ping continent and the Yuan continent. These people's qualifications are very good. Once they are trained by the 5-star academies, they would absolutely not be any weaker than the geniuses of the Hua continent. Along with the ranking issue, more and more people started to talk about it. Soon the topic turned to the 5-star academies. Which one was the better one? Seeing Ji Luofei and Ning Qing not speaking, Zhu Mu'er took the initiative and said, "Younger sister Luofei, with your qualifications, even if you are not selected by the 5-star academies, the 4-star academies would definitely fight for you. As for your brother Xiaocheng, as long as you enter a 4-star academy, it would not be a problem for you to become an outer sect disciple." The airship speed was extremely fast, and in less than 2 days, it had already landed in the Moze city's relay station square. This kind of airship from outside was not allowed to fly directly into the Moze city. Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei followed the crowd off the airship and decided to first enter the Moze city to find a rest stop, and then go to the Falling Star Academy to look for Meng Yujing. After listening to the discussions of the people on the airship, Ning Cheng already knew that the 5-star academies of the Hua continent were the Thunder Academy, the Clear Sky Academy, the Falling Star Academy, the Luo Ho Academy, and the God Wind Academy. The reason why the selection of the students was held in the Moze city was not because the strength of the Falling Star Academy in the Moze city was much more powerful, but because a powerhouse from an intermediate class continent had come to like the Moze city and had decided to stay in the Moze city. Since the powerhouse from the intermediate class continent had decided to stay in the Moze city, then the rest of the academies and sects of the Hua continent, of course, would also come to the Moze city. Ning Xiaocheng, Luofei, I'll be leaving first. Wait for me to join the Falling Star Academy, maybe I can help you. After Zhu Mu'er got off the airship, she happily waved to Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei and impatiently followed the crowd towards the Moze city. Ji Luofei looked at the countless cultivators rushing towards the Moze city and spoke with some worry in her voice. "Xiaocheng, when I left here, there were not so many people, but now that there are so many people, I'm afraid that it would be difficult to find a place to stay. Otherwise." Ji Luofei was already used to calling him Xiaocheng along the way. Now that Zhu Mu'er had left, she did not change the way she addressed him. When Ning Cheng heard Ji Luofei's words, he immediately understood her meaning and simply waved his hand and said, "Luofei, even if we do not enter the Moze city, I will not go and find your aunt. Your aunt is a kind of person, I simply do not like her." Ji Luofei gave a faint smile and said, "Then I'll listen to you." From the bottom of her heart, she was not willing to go and find her aunt, but she was afraid that Ning Cheng would not have a place to rest. The Moze city was different from other cities. There was a fee to enter the city, but it was not in the form of spirit stones, but rather in the form of gold coins. Each trip in and out would cost 10 gold coins. If it was an ordinary cultivator, then this was simply not a lot of money. But for some of the people who could not cultivate, this was a sky-high price. However, this Moze city was a big city, and the people who lived there were basically cultivators. Some of the people who could not cultivate, in addition to being servants in some of the big clans, most of them did not live in the Moze city, but rather lived in the surroundings of the Moze city. Ning Cheng brought Ji Luofei into the Moze city, and the first thing he saw was a large street that was more than 10 feet wide. This street was really too conspicuous. Not only was it spacious, but it was also bustling. From time to time on the street, There were some people riding fierce beasts passing by, Ji Luo Fei whispered in Ning Cheng's ear. These people riding these tamed fierce beasts are the disciples of some of the big clans. As for the people from other places, it is very rare for them to ride these fierce beasts. At this time, a red fierce beast did not know what frightened it, but it suddenly roared and rushed into the crowd. Ning Cheng was surprised in his heart. Could it be that this Moze city was the same as the Tsongli city, where people could let their beasts rampage unscrupulously in the streets? Ning Cheng soon knew that this was not the case. He could see that the face of the youth who was riding on the back of the fierce beast was somewhat pale. Apparently he did not think that his beast would suddenly be frightened. Several pedestrians who were not paying attention were hit by the fierce beast. Fortunately, most of the people on the street were cultivators, and were able to get out of the way in time. Although the fierce beast rushed out more than 10 meters away, it did not cause any casualties. Seeing that the speed of the fierce beast was getting faster and faster, and was about to rush into the denser crowd, a white shadow suddenly jumped down from the restaurant on the side. This white shadow grabbed the head of the rushing fierce beast. The fierce beast seemed to have hit a solid iron wall. It uttered a loud roar, and was forced back more than 10 steps, before it came to a stop while foaming at the mouth. At this time the crowd could clearly see that the white shadow was actually a young man wearing a white robe. He was abruptly using his own hand to control the rushing fierce beast. A burst of cheers and applause resounded. Many of the people who came to the Moze city for the first time were looking forward to the Moze city even more. Ji Luo Fei pulled Ning Cheng to the side and whispered in Ning Cheng's ear, "This person is Moze city's Shui clan's Shui Yu. My aunt had given me a portrait of him. It was this person who wanted my aunt to marry me to him." Chapter 90. Is this the son of a bitch? Ning Cheng looked at the white-robed man who was cupping his fists in the middle of the applauding crowd, and suddenly felt a bit uncomfortable in his heart. This person did not look much older than him, but was already at the peak of true condensation 6th level. As long as he took a step forward, he would be able to advance to the late stages of true condensation. It looks like his qualifications are quite good, although he is not much older than me, but he already has the cultivation of true condensation 6th level. Although in his heart he was not happy with this guy called Shui Yu, but Ning Cheng still admired this guy's cultivation speed. Ji Luo Fei, on hearing Ning Cheng's words, said disapprovingly, "He is much older than you. I heard that he is almost 30 years old. Moreover, he has a very pure dual spiritual root. Plus, the Shui clan is the first clan in the Hua continent. Almost all the cultivation resources are piled up on him. In my opinion, he is simply not as good as you. Let's find a place to stay, lest you be seen by the people of the Shui clan, or even your aunt." Ning Cheng did not want to continue to wander on the streets. Ji Luo Fei obviously did not want to walk on the streets. If not for accompanying Ning Cheng here, she would not even want to come to the Moze city. While looking for a rest stop, Ning Cheng knew that what Ji Luo Fei said was not wrong. The two of them searched for nearly 2 hours. Even though it was already evening, they still could not find a place to stay. "Luo Fei, since we can't find a place to stay, then let's go out of the city," Ning Cheng helplessly said. Ji Luo Fei was about to agree, when she heard a surprised voice. "Ning Cheng? Why you here? Weren't you chased out of the Tsongli city by Gu Fei?" "Ho Chuan." Ning Cheng knew the person in front of him. Ho Chuan was one of the 10 people selected by the Tsongqing 2-Star Academy. Moreover, at the entrance of the Tsongqing 2-Star Academy, when Gu Fei challenged him, Ho Chuan also took the initiative to speak up for him. At this time Ho Chuan was standing next to a beautiful girl. It seems that she came out together with Ho Chuan. After recognizing Ho Chuan, Ning Cheng quickly understood. Ho Chuan was a student of the Falling Star Academy. Since the Falling Star Academy was in the Moze city, it was normal to see Ho Chuan here. Ho Chuan did not finish his words, but Ning Cheng already knew what he meant. He had been chased out of the Tsongli city by Gu Fei. So how could he appear in the Hua continent, which was so far from the continent in the Mo continent? Logically speaking, he should have been killed by Gu Fei. I really did not expect to meet Brother Ho here. Initially, after Gu Fei and I left the Tsongli city, the two of us had a huge battle, and I was lucky enough to kill Gu Fei. If it were replaced with someone else, he would not even bother to explain it. Ho Chuan obviously did not believe Ning Cheng's explanation. Gu Fei was followed by Gu Yiming. It would be strange if Ning Cheng had the time to fight with Gu Fei. He did not continue to ask. Looking at Ji Lufei standing beside Ning Cheng, he understood in his heart that Ning Cheng should have come here to look for Ji Lufei. At this time, his view of Ning Cheng had completely changed. Ning Cheng had accomplished several things that were simply impossible to accomplish. Not to mention escaping from the hands of the Gu brothers, it was not easy for them to travel from the Ping continent to the Hua continent. Even if he arrived at the Hua continent, it would not be easy to find Ji Luofei from the Falling Star Academy. However, Ning Cheng managed to achieve all of these. Not only did he manage to do it, but he also did it perfectly. However, just like before when he looked at Ning Cheng's cultivation, it did not seem to have changed much, and he still could not see it clearly. He already had the cultivation of the Great Circle of Qi gathering 7th level. He did not believe that Ning Cheng's cultivation was higher than his own. Elder brother Ning, are you looking for a place to stay? Ho Chuan's view of Ning Cheng had completely changed, and the tone of his voice showed that he wanted to make friends with him. Yes, it's just that I can't find a place to stay in the Moze city. Ning Cheng said with regret. Ho Chuan looked at Ji Luofei and said in a puzzled voice, Junior Apprentice Sister Ji should be a student of the Falling Star Academy. As long as Junior Apprentice Sister Ji shows her identity, then you can find a place to stay in any of the rest stops. Ning Cheng quickly said, Luofei is no longer a student of the Falling Star Academy. We did not tell anyone that we came to the Moze city, so I ask Elder Brother Ho not to tell anyone that Luofei has come to the Moze city. Ho Chuan nodded. Even if Ning Cheng had not told him about it, he would not have spoken about this matter. He was not a talkative person. Let me help you. This kind of simple matter, Ho Chuan was already planning to help. Ho Chuan brought Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei to the nearest rest stop. This rest stop was the one that Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei had just come to. But this time when Ho Chuan took out his academy identity, it was very easy for him to help Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei book a room. Seeing that Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei had only asked for a room, Ho Chuan did not speak much. After saying a few simple words to Ning Cheng, he left the rest stop with the woman beside him. The reason why Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei lived together, in addition to the lack of space, and not wanting to trouble Ho Chuan, there was another reason. It was because they could look after each other. Once there was an emergency, the two of them could communicate with each other at any time. I forgot to ask Ho Chuan to help me make an appointment with Meng Yujing. After Ho Chuan left, Ning Cheng suddenly patted his head. He should have asked Ho Chuan about this matter first. If he wanted to find Meng Yujing, then it would definitely be somewhat difficult. Ji Luofei shook her head and said, Ho Chuan would not be able to see Meng Yujing. If you ask him to help you, then it would be difficult for him. Since that is the case, then I will think of another way. The Moze Grand Plaza is currently recruiting students. Tomorrow I will go to the Clear Sky Academy to take a look. You stay in your residence and cultivate. Ning Cheng thought that although Ji Luofei had only stayed in the Moze city for a short period of time, but there were definitely a lot of people who knew her, so staying in the rest stop was much better than going out. Ning Cheng's thinking was relatively simple. If he and Ji Luofei wanted to go to an intermediate class continent, then they would have to join a 5-star academy. The saying that it was good to enjoy the shade under a big tree was not without reason. The Clear Sky Academy was the best choice. Ning Cheng believed that with his own ability, it would not be a problem for him to be selected to enter the Clear Sky Academy. As for Ji Lufei, he would use the Clear Sky Command Medallion. The next morning, Ning Cheng went to the Moze Grand Plaza alone. Since there were so many academies from the Hua continent that had come to the Moze city to select their disciples, Ning Cheng guessed that the Moze Grand Plaza that these academies were temporarily stationed in would definitely not be small. When Ning Cheng saw the Moze Grand Plaza, he came to know just how big this plaza was. Ning Cheng estimated that this public square was dozens of kilometers long and wide. The public square was densely packed with academies and large and small sects. The number of disciples who came to participate in the selection of these academies was simply innumerable. Nevertheless, the logos of the 5-star academies were still very clear at a glance, and Ning Cheng immediately saw the Clear Sky Academy. Ningqing did not immediately go to the place where the Clear Sky Academy would select their disciples, but followed the many people who had just arrived in the Moz city to look at the selection rules of the major academies and sects. The rules were engraved on a huge stone tablet at the entrance to the public square. After looking at the stone tablet and asking the people around, Ningqing came to know that his previous understanding was wrong. This time there were so many academies and sects from the Hua continent gathered in the Moz Grand Plaza. Rather than saying that it was the selection of disciples, it would be better to say that it was the preliminary round. Only those who had excellent results in the preliminary round would have the possibility to participate in the disciple selection or continue to participate in the semifinals. The rules of the preliminary round were very clear. It was a written test. All the cultivators who wanted to enter the second round of the semifinals had to pass the written test of the preliminary round. Only by passing the written test would they be able to enter the second round of the semifinals. There were two ways to obtain the qualifications for the written test. First, pure spiritual roots, dual spiritual roots and main spiritual roots could directly go to any of the academies or sects to register. Second, the rest of the cultivators with spiritual roots, if they wanted to obtain the qualifications for the written test, they could only go to the 5-star academies or sects to obtain it. Third, there were a total of 5 written tests, and each test would be held for 5,000 people. It would be held once a month for 5 consecutive months. Ningqing sighed in his heart. There were so many cultivators who came to the Moz city, but only 25,000 people were able to participate in the first round of the written test. In other words, more than 90% of the people were not even qualified to participate in the first round. However, Ningqing also knew that this was already very fair, as everyone who came here would have many opportunities. With so many academies taking the test one by one, maybe one of the academies would give them the qualifications for the preliminary round. The preliminary round would last for half a year, so there was a lot of time. If I can't obtain the qualifications for the written test, then wouldn't I not have the opportunity to participate in the preliminary round? Someone immediately asked in surprise. Apparently he felt that this rule was inappropriate. Every academy has the qualifications to participate in the preliminary round of the written test, although the low-level academies and the 5-star academies have a limited quota. If you have the ability, how could you not get it? If you don't have the ability, then why would you participate? Someone next to him immediately retorted. You also know that the quota is limited. In case someone secretly manipulated it, the quota has already been allocated. Why would they wait for us? The person who thought that the rules were inappropriate still disagreed. The person who refuted him was too lazy to continue to pay attention to him, but even if he did not pay attention to him, there was still someone next to him who spoke. You are stupid. Do you know that if a low-level academy or academy can send a student to a 5-star academy, then do you know how big the reward would be? You can't even imagine it. This is not the main thing. If any of the academies or academies were to show off in the written test, then that academy would immediately become famous, and then there would be more people flocking to it, and the academy or academy would be promoted to a higher level. In this kind of situation, there are still people who dare to secretly manipulate it, unless they are tired of living. The more capable you are, the more popular you would be in the low-level academies and academies. I know this. Last month was the 4th preliminary round. There was a 2-star academy that chose a student who scored 76 points in the preliminary round and was selected to go to the Clear Sky Academy. Because of this 2-star academy was promoted to a 3-star academy and also obtained a lot of resources. What is the written test about? Someone asked. Who knows? If you knew, then why would you call for a written test? I only know that the content of the 5 preliminary rounds is different. Ningqing understood, if the qualifications were good, then they could directly go to a 5-star academy and represent the 5-star academy in the written test. If the qualifications were not good, then they could find a low-level academy or academy to get a quota, and then represent the low-level academy or academy to participate in the written test. Chapter 91. Ningqing stopped a chi-gathering cultivator beside him and said, This friend, I just heard people say that as long as you get 76 points, you will be selected to enter the Clear Sky Academy? The cultivator stared at Ning Cheng for a while, and then said in a speechless manner, You just arrived in Moze City? Do you know what 76 points represents? You can go to the 6 array formation screens over there and look at the results of the preliminary round, and you will know what 76 points represents. Ning Cheng looked at the place where the cultivator was pointing, and saw a row of 6 array formation screens. He walked to the front of the first array formation screen, and immediately saw what was going on. These 6 array formation screens showed the results of the preliminary round, and the first array formation screen showed the results of the first preliminary round. The array formation screen showed only 500 people. According to the calculation of the number of participants in each preliminary round was 5,000 people, this was a 10-to-1 rate. The highest score in the first preliminary round was 71 points, and the 500th place on the big screen only had a few dozen points. The second big screen showed the results of the second preliminary round, but the first place in the second preliminary round had a score of 94 points, while the second place only had a score of 63 points. The 500th place also had a few dozen points. Ning Cheng looked at the results of the fourth preliminary round, and finally discovered that the score of 76 points was the third place in the written preliminary round. The fifth big screen was blank. Because the fifth preliminary round had not yet started, the sixth big screen was also blank. Ning Cheng had to find another person and asked, Excuse me, is the sixth big screen set up for the final preliminary round rankings? Does it mean that the first 2,500 people on the 5 big screens will all enter the semifinals? How could it be so simple? The sixth big screen shows the final preliminary round rankings, but it is not arranged according to what you said. Finally, from the first 2,500 people in the preliminary round, only 1,000 people will be selected to participate in the semifinals. The rules of the selection are based on the highest score. The person explained. The questions of each preliminary round written round are different. Isn't this choice unfair? Ning Cheng did not know if the questions of the written preliminary round were the same, but he guessed that it should be different. How can there be absolute fairness? But since no one raised any objections, then it means that there will not be any problems. This person obviously did not know much. Ning Cheng did not know what the topic of the written exam was, but he simply did not want to think about it, as there were still a few days left until the 5th written exam. He had taken countless tests since he was young. If others could take the test, how could he be afraid of it? At this time he wanted to go to the Clear Sky Academy. He wanted to first ask about the Clear Sky Command Medallion. If the Clear Sky Command Medallion could be used, then he would ask if he could represent the Clear Sky Academy in the written examination. Even if he could not represent the Clear Sky Academy, but there were so many academies and academies in this public square, it should be possible for him to find a place to participate in the written examination. Compared to some of the lower-leveled academies and sects that were overcrowded with people, there were only a few people in front of the 5-star academies. Everyone knew that if you do not have a good spiritual root, then you should not go to a 5-star academy and make a fool of yourself. Excuse me, what color is the main spiritual root? Ning Cheng had not even finished speaking when a middle-aged man sitting in front of the Clear Sky Academy's station lazily interrupted Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng had to speak up. I don't have a main spiritual root. Pa. The middle-aged man slammed the table in front of him. Who sent you here if you don't have a main spiritual root? Do you think that the 5-star academies are just playing around with you? If everyone was like you, then how could we do anything? Ning Cheng almost pulled out the spear on his back and shot it at him, a trivial chi-gathering cultivator, yet still dared to be so arrogant. I want to ask if I can join the Clear Sky Academy with the Clear Sky Command Medallion? Ning Cheng's tone became stiff. What? You have the Clear Sky Command Medallion? The chi-gathering cultivator's face showed a surprised expression. He immediately stood up, and his tone immediately eased by 180 degrees. Excuse me, did you bring the Clear Sky Command Medallion? Let me check it. Ning Cheng took out the Clear Sky Command Medallion and placed it in the hands of the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man looked at the command medallion for a while, as his face constantly changed. After more than 10 breaths, he asked, "Where did you get the Clear Sky Command Medallion? Was it an accident of an academy or an individual? Are you a rogue cultivator?" Ning Cheng did not want to hide it, and just said, "Yes, I am indeed a rogue cultivator. This Clear Sky Command Medallion was something that I obtained by chance." The middle-aged man's eyes flashed with joy, then he coughed, and his expression became dignified as he continued to speak. "What is your request?" Ning Cheng looked at the middle-aged man's face, and felt that this Clear Sky Command Medallion still had some use. He directly spoke out his thoughts. "I have a friend who wants to use this Clear Sky Command Medallion to join the Clear Sky Academy. If it is possible, I would also like to ask, is it possible to add a place for me to participate in the written test through this command medallion? If the second one is not good, then I would like to add another one." "Okay, I know, your request can be completely satisfied. I will put away the Clear Sky Command Medallion. You can fill out the form here. I will apply for a place for you to participate in the 5th written test." The middle-aged man once again interrupted Ning Cheng's words. But this time Ning Cheng felt that something was wrong. He had taken out the Clear Sky Command Medallion, not to obtain a place for the written test. His main purpose was to obtain a place for Ji Luo Fei to join the Clear Sky Academy. Then he himself would pass the written test and enter the Clear Sky Academy. In this case, both of them would be able to join the Clear Sky Academy and would be able to look after each other. But this man only said that he would be given a place in the written test, and did not say that he would agree to a place in the Clear Sky Academy. Ning Cheng did not fill out the form and just asked, "My main requirement is not to participate in the written examination, but to enter the Clear Sky Academy." This middle-aged man gave a cold snort, and once again interrupted Ning Cheng's words. "Each Clear Sky Command Medallion can only make one request. I have already fulfilled one of your requests. If you dare to be unreasonable again, then do not blame me for calling the law enforcers over." Ning Cheng finally understood why this person did not take away his Clear Sky Command Medallion. This kind of shameless person was something that he had never seen before. "Give me the Clear Sky Command Medallion, and I will not make any requests for the time being." Although Ning Cheng could not wait to immediately teach this middle-aged man a lesson, but he still held back his anger. This middle-aged man looked at Ning Cheng with disdain and spoke. "Do you think that the Clear Sky Command Medallion is a child's play? This is something that my Clear Sky Academy has given out. Every time you complete a request, it will be taken back. Now we have already agreed to your request. Hurry up and fill in the form. Otherwise, it will be considered as giving up." Ning Cheng was extremely angry. This chi-gathering cultivator's eyes flashed. It was obvious that he did not dare to make a big deal out of this matter. He simply said, "Since that is the case, then I will break in and look for someone who can speak. Let's see if you, a trivial chi-gathering cultivator, can make a decision." This chi-gathering cultivator saw that Ning Cheng was not intimidated, and his eyes flashed with a trace of panic. At this time, an essence-building cultivator wearing the uniform of the Clear Sky Academy came over. This essence-building cultivator swept his eyes over the two people and asked in a somewhat displeased manner, "What the hell is going on here?" "Uncle Jing, this person does not have a main spiritual root." This chi-gathering cultivator had not even finished speaking when this cultivator called Uncle Jing coldly stared at Ning Cheng and said, "This is a 5-star academy. You do not have a main spiritual root. If you dare to continue to cause trouble here, then do not blame me for being impolite." Ning Cheng did not want to continue to be long-winded. He was ready to take back the Clear Sky Command Medallion. This essence-building cultivator did not even finish listening to his words, and immediately became angry, coupled with the fact that the Clear Sky Academy used this kind of person to select their registered disciples. It could be seen that the Clear Sky Academy was really not that good. Just when Ning Cheng was about to ask for the Clear Sky Command Medallion, he suddenly saw Lan Yinyu. Lan Yinyu was walking towards him along with an old man with the cultivation of essence-building realm. Ning Cheng did not continue to explain, as he turned around and walked away. A Clear Sky Command Medallion for him was nothing. He was not in a hurry to take revenge for this enmity. When he had the opportunity, he would definitely make this chi-gathering cultivator, who had swallowed his Clear Sky Command Medallion, pay him back with his skin and bones. At this time, even if he was asked to join the Clear Sky Academy, he did not have any interest in it. The Clear Sky Academy was at best a 5-star academy. It was not worth it for him to curry favor with them. Lan Yi knew, and he had a grudge, although he was not afraid of this woman, but the essence-building cultivator beside her was something that Ning Qing did not want to come into contact with. If he did not feel that this tournament was an opportunity for him, he would have already taken Ji Luo Fei away. As for the matter with Ko Hong, he could come back later to look for Meng Yujing. The Qi-gathering realm middle-aged man saw that Ning Qing did not even bother to explain, and just turned around and walked away. He was even more ecstatic in his heart. He had already planned it out. If Ning Qing really spoke about the Clear Sky Command Medallion, then he would say that Ning Qing had obtained a Clear Sky Command Medallion. He was explaining to Ning Qing that the Clear Sky Command Medallion under normal circumstances could only make one request. The role of the Clear Sky Command Medallion in the Clear Sky Academy was far more than just a simple quota. The holder of this token could not only join the Clear Sky Academy, but could also obtain a best quality artifact, as well as a true grade cultivation method that everyone envied. Do not look at the fact that he was selecting disciples from outside the Clear Sky Academy. He was only a disciple of the Clear Sky Academy's outer court. Once he obtained the Clear Sky Command Medallion, he would immediately become a disciple of the inner court, and would be able to enjoy all kinds of treatment. As for Ning Qing, who had taken out the Clear Sky Command Medallion, he had already planned it out. As long as he could find the right time, he would immediately destroy Ning Qing. There were 5,000 people in each preliminary round. It seemed like a lot, but it really wasn't much. Ning Qing went from a 4-star academy to a 3-star academy, and then went to various academies, asking no less than 20 or 30 people, but still did not manage to get a spot. He had the cultivation of true condensation 1st level, but this kind of cultivation was not as good as a Qi-gathering 9th level cultivator. The true condensation cultivators and the Qi-gathering cultivators had the same questions in the preliminary round, but in the final round, they would have to compete separately. Once separated, the true condensation 1st level would undoubtedly be the worst among the true condensation cultivators. Ning Xiaoqing. Ning Qing suddenly heard someone calling him from behind. He did not need to look back. He knew that the person calling him was Zhu Mu-er. This woman was really everywhere. Listening to her happy tone, he guessed that she had obtained a spot in the final round. Ning Qing turned around and saw Zhu Mu-er waving excitedly at him. He walked over and smiled. What a coincidence, Zhu Mu-er. Chapter 92. The Moze Grand Plaza's examination venue was a large hall. After Ning Qing and Ji Luo Fei made an appointment, they followed the other participants into the examination hall. Although the topic of this written exam is different from the previous 4 written exams, but I am sure that the degree of difficulty will be the same. In the previous 4 written exams, we tested on talismans, array formations, refining artifacts, restrictions, and other basic materials. Today we will be testing on the knowledge of alchemy that everyone is familiar with. Of course, we will also be testing on the basic materials. If Zhu Mu-er could not find a place to stay, then he intended to invite Zhu Mu-er to stay at their rest stop. The beautiful young woman saw that everyone understood, and said with a smile, "Everyone, do not stare at me, please pay attention to the table in front of you. The table in front of everyone is a projection array." The topic of this exam is the spiritual grasses of the Alchemy Foundation. The spiritual grasses mainly record the color, taste, shape, nature, and other content of the spiritual grasses. This time we are not taking out a complete set of spiritual grasses. There are a total of about 4,600 pages. Ning Qing also secretly thought that this was abnormal. Almost in less than 5 seconds they would have to look at a piece of paper. Because Ning Qing knew that here, a page was equivalent to a piece of paper, which was equivalent to 2 pages back on Earth. Moreover, the pages here were a bit bigger. If the words were a bit smaller, then it would be too terrible. After the beautiful young woman finished, Ning Qing immediately saw the first page of the spiritual grasses on the table in front of him. The content was so dense that Ning Qing did not dare to continue thinking about other things. His whole mind was focused on memorizing the spiritual grasses in front of him. After the man with the bitter melon face heard Zhu Mu-er's words, his face became even more bitter. "Miss Mu-er, my Hua Yu Academy has a total of 2 quotas. I have already given you one, and you still want to ask me for it? Why don't you go look for it in other places? A few days passed by quickly. These days Ning Qing did not go looking for Meng Yujing. He knew that with Meng Yujing's status, he would not be able to see her. Ning Qing took the jade card and thanked Zhu Mu'er, and then said to Sect Head Yin, Sect Head Yin, thank you very much for your jade card. I will certainly not let you give me your quota. Is your father a advanced level pill master? Ning Qing immediately asked his own guess. Hey, how did you know that my father is a pill master? Zhu Mu'er stared at Ning Qing in amazement and asked. All right, I've already said it once. It's meaningless for you to say it again. Zhu Mu'er waved her hand and said in a very magnanimous manner. The hall was so spacious that it didn't seem crowded at all, even with 5,000 people sitting in it. For a true condensation 9th level cultivator, there was nothing more important than an essence building pill. Ning Qing sat down according to the number on the jade card, and sat down together with the rest of the people who were participating in the preliminary round. He had tried to use his spiritual force to scan the hall as soon as he had entered. However, he realized that his spiritual force could not even extend an inch, let alone scan the entire hall. Not only that, his mind was blank for several breaths of time. For a true condensation 9th level cultivator to be this polite to Zhu Mu'er, it certainly was not because he had a good relationship with Zhu Mu'er, but rather because Zhu Mu'er had promised him something that was very important to him. Moreover, this matter was also related to Zhu Mu'er's father. Sect Head Yin hesitated for a moment, but when he heard Zhu Mu'er's rhetorical question, he finally clenched his teeth and said, I agree, I will give you both of the quotas. However, after this matter is over, you must take me to see Master Medicine Master. In addition to the chair that he was sitting on, there was only a table in front of him, and on the table there were a few pieces of white paper and a pen. Other than that, there was nothing else. Well, the introductions will end here. All the candidates who are participating in the preliminary round, please pay attention to your own table. The projection will now begin. Perhaps this was a teacher from a 5-star academy. Once they thought of entering a 5-star academy, they would have such a teacher to teach them how to cultivate. All the people who were participating in the preliminary round felt their hearts burning with passion. They were even more eager to get into action, hoping that they would be able to get the best results in the examination. The beautiful young woman had just finished speaking, when a lot of discussions broke out below. Even Ning Qing frowned. He simply had not studied the basics of alchemy, so wouldn't those who studied alchemy have a huge advantage? No wonder there was such a big difference in the scores of the first 4 rounds. The people who scored high in the first round must have studied it. Ning Qing thought about how Zhu Mu'er casually took out a level 3 spiritual growth pill, and then thought about how this sect head Yin was at true condensation 9th level, plus he was very concerned about the matter that Zhu Mu'er had promised him. Ning Qing could almost guess that Zhu Mu'er's father should be a pill master. Since this sect head Yin had asked Zhu Mu'er for help, it was very likely that it had something to do with the essence-building pill. Ning Qing said his goodbyes to Zhu Mu'er, and returned to the rest stop and told Ji Luofei about the jade card that he had obtained from Zhu Mu'er, but Ji Luofei felt that this Zhu Mu'er had a very straightforward temperament. After half an hour, a beautiful woman wearing a plain white robe came in. She first looked at the people in the hall who were participating in the written examination, and then walked to the front of the round table and said, Today is the last round of the preliminary written examination for the 5-star academies of the Hua continent. After today's round, the overall ranking list of the top 1,000 will be released. Most of these 1,000 people will be selected by the 5-star academies. Some of the lucky ones may even be able to participate in the tournament between the 5-star academies 2 years later. I would like to wish all of you in this preliminary round, and would be able to get the best results. On this day, it was already the time for the 5th round of the written examination. Ning Qing and Ji Luofei had already arrived at the Moze Grand Plaza. In order to avoid Ji Luofei being recognized by her paternal aunt, Ning Qing deliberately made Ji Luofei wear a veil and wore a female cultivator's wide-brimmed hat. If he had not deliberately swept out with his spiritual consciousness, Ning Qing believed that Ji Luofei would not have been recognized. How come younger sister Luofei did not come together with you? Is it possible that you are also looking for a place in the preliminary round? That's right, I know. You must have come to help younger sister Luo Fei to find a place, right? Zhu Mu-er asked Ning Cheng two questions one after another. Ning Cheng did not think that this Zhu Mu-er would be so eloquent. He did not know what kind of promise she had made to the Huayu Academy's sovereign. This Huayu Academy's sovereign seemed to have the cultivation of true condensation 9th level, and should be the sovereign of a 2-star academy. Ning Cheng thought to himself, with his powerful memory, he did not believe that he would not be able to score 70 to 80 points. His memory was beyond the scope of his powerful memory. It could even be said to be a special ability. The beautiful young woman saw that the crowd below was a bit noisy, so she raised her hand and said, "After everyone has finished looking at the questions, you will know that even if there are some people who have studied alchemy, they would still be standing on the same starting line as you. Of course, it does not rule out that there are some people who have studied systematically, and even the questions that I am about to take out, they might have seen it before. For these people to score high, it is only right, because they are diligent enough, or because they have an opportunity. Of course I found it, it's very simple, my father is known by many people here," Zhu Mu-er said without even half a moment of hesitation. Almost all the people sucked in a breath of cold air. No wonder the score in the previous exam was so low. To memorize 4,600 pages of content in just 6 hours, this was simply too crazy. The first page was displayed for less than 5 seconds, and the second page was already displayed. Those who had a poor memory could not even remember the first few lines. Zhu Mu-er waved her hand and said, "One thing does not bother two masters. You can rest assured, I have already promised you, I will definitely help you. My father always listens to my words, and will absolutely not hesitate for even half a moment. You can only profit from it. Besides, even if you participate by yourself, I estimate that you will not be able to enter the list. If you let me and Sister Luo Fei participate, then we might really be able to help you get a place in the semifinals. Then your Huayu Academy would definitely make a fortune." When Ning Cheng heard that the written exam would take 3 hours, he was surprised in his heart. How could it take so long? 7 hours? When he heard that it would take 3 hours to read the questions, and only half an hour to write the questions, he was even more confused. The Moze City's Grand Plaza was soon filled with cultivators from all over the place, because today was the 5th preliminary round. After the 5th preliminary round, the list of 1,000 people who would enter the semifinals would also come out at the same time. So the people in the Moze City today were especially many. All of them wanted to know who was qualified to enter the semifinals. Ning Cheng had to put away the jade card and looked at Zhu Mu-er and asked, "Did you find a place to stay?" Zhu Mu-er triumphantly took the jade card from sect head Zhu and placed it in Ning Cheng's hands and said, "Look, isn't this the jade card to participate in the preliminary round?" After she asked, she did not wait for Ning Cheng to answer, and once again turned to a man with a bitter melon face behind her and said, "Sect head Yin, you might as well give the other quota to us. Anyway, it would be useless for you to participate. Moreover, you would not be able to find a better person to represent your Huayu Academy in the preliminary round." Everyone thought that it was true. Other people knew a lot, but it was also because of their hard work and opportunities. Wasn't it better for the 5-star academies to select their disciples, the stronger the better? "That is natural. I also have to go back," Zhu Mu-er said, and did not forget to greet the sect head Yin of the Huayu Academy. After the beautiful young woman finished, she paused for a moment and waited for everyone to understand the importance of the 5th written exam before she continued to speak in a soft voice. "Today's written exam time is 3 hours, of which the time to look at the questions is 3 hours, and the time to answer the questions is half an hour." Since Ning Cheng could not use his spiritual sense, he could only rely on his memory. Ning Cheng finally understood why his mind had gone blank a moment. Ning Cheng was speechless and said in his heart, "You just wrote a few words on your face. My father is a pill master. Is it really that hard to guess?" With this kind of personality, walking around in the Hua continent, Ning Cheng was really worried for her. A few days ago, she was still saying that she would rely on her own ability to show some results to her father, but now she was using her father's name to show off. This Zhu Mu-er really, this beautiful white-robed woman was not only extremely beautiful, but her voice was also incomparably warm, making the people who heard her to feel a kind of comfort and desire in their hearts, hoping that she would continue to speak. Ning Cheng was thinking that a cultivator with a strong spiritual sense would definitely be able to remember more things, when the beautiful young woman once again said with a smile, "When the spiritual grasses come out, everyone please remember them with your heart. Do not use your spiritual sense, as this place is shielded from the use of spiritual sense. If you use your spiritual sense, not only will you not be able to see anything, it will also make you fall into a blank space." It seems that if this Zhu Mu heir did not rely on her father, then she would have to show some results to her father, as she still had a long way to go. Ning Cheng rubbed his head and said to Zhu Mu heir, "Then I will go back first, otherwise Luo Fei will be waiting anxiously. I wish you a good result in the preliminary round, and then let your father have a whole new level of respect for you." The contents of the 4,600 pages of the spiritual grasses will be displayed in the projection array formation in front of you in 3 hours. You will need to memorize all the contents of the 4,600 pages within these 3 hours. After the 3 hours have passed, we will choose the questions from the 4,600 pages. Chapter 93. Time slowly passed by. Some people even completely fainted after reading a few hundred pages. So much information flashed by in a few seconds, one could not use their spiritual sense to memorize, and could only rely on their memory. Just thinking about it made one feel scared. Even if one's memory was powerful, continuously using high-intensity memory for a few hours, it was extremely difficult to persist. After an hour passed, fainting was already considered light. There were even several cultivators who participated in the written exam who, because of using their brain too much, vomited blood on the spot. Ning Cheng at this time was completely immersed in the deep level of memory. The content of the exam was indeed a bit stressful for him, but the pressure was not too much. Previously, when he took an exam, he would only read a book for 1 or 2 hours before the exam. The intensity of that kind of memory was also very high. The reason why it was not as good as now was because he always had a lot of time before the exam. Moreover, he did not need to score 100 points, as he could just sweep his eyes over the page and memorize it. Now that he could only flash a page every 5 seconds, for Ning Cheng, it was still within the acceptable range. As long as he looked at the place under normal circumstances, he would completely remember it. Ning Cheng knew that his ability, no matter where, was a very special ability. In the Yixing mainland, even the true cultivators could fly, although this kind of special ability was amazing, but it was not as outrageous as it was on Earth. In the beginning, Ning Cheng had just finished reading a page and 2 sides, when the projection array formation on the desktop flipped over. Later, when Ning Cheng finished reading a new page, he still had time to spare. Although this spare time was only half a second, but it was enough for Ning Cheng to sort out the memories and rest his brain. Towards the end, Ning Cheng was no longer memorizing for the exam. He felt that the things that he was looking at were extremely useful things. A variety of spiritual grasses, their shapes, grades, colors, odors, and other identification methods, a variety of spiritual grasses' growth environment and special effects, which pills could be refined, and which spiritual grasses could be combined to produce different effects. Ning Cheng remembered all of these things. He believed that these things would be useful to him in the future. Once, Yi had also given him a book on spiritual grasses, but the content of that book was not even a tenth of what was in here. 3 hours for Ning Cheng, it really was just a blink of an eye. When he found that the projection on the table in front of him had disappeared, only then did he raise his head. Looking at the beautiful young woman who was still standing on the round platform, Ning Cheng also had a good impression of this beautiful young woman in his heart. For 6 consecutive hours, this beautiful young woman had not moved at all. This teacher was also very competent. The key point was that Ning Cheng could see that this woman's cultivation level was at least at the essence-building realm, or even beyond the essence-building realm. All the examinees who participated in the preliminary written test focused their attention on the beautiful young woman because there were no projections. That young woman once again spoke with a warm voice. "There is still half an hour left. I will give everyone half an incense stick worth of time to sort out the things that you have just memorized." The examination room was completely silent. Half an incense stick worth of time quickly passed by. The young woman continued to speak. Before the written test, all the participants please write their name, the sect that they represent on the top of the white paper. After waiting for a moment, she estimated that everyone had already written their name. The young woman then said, "Now everyone please look at the questions. On the table in front of everyone, there will be a projection of the written test questions. Write down the various properties and main characteristics of the 10 spiritual grasses on the white paper. Remember to be very detailed. The degree of detail must be compared to the basic spiritual grasses that you had just seen. These 10 questions each have 10 points, a total of 100 points." Ning Cheng sighed. This kind of question was not a challenge to him. He had already memorized the spiritual grasses that he had just seen. As long as the questions were in the spiritual grasses, he would definitely be able to write them down. Ning Cheng looked at the questions and sure enough, they were all from the spiritual grasses that he had just seen. If he had not seen the spiritual grasses, he would not have been able to answer any of these questions. These spiritual grasses were what he had just seen. He had never seen them in other books before. But when Ning Cheng looked at the 10th question, he was immediately dumbfounded. Please write down the first spiritual grasses on page 2932, as well as its various characteristics. It was not that he did not know, but he had not only memorized the contents of each page, but also the serial number of each page. The key point was that if he had to answer this question, it would mean that his incomparably powerful memory would be exposed. If he did not answer this question, then he could use the excuse that he had seen the basic spiritual grasses in other places. Ning Cheng knew that even if he did not answer this question, he would definitely be able to enter a 5-star academy. Those 76 points were able to enter. If he could not even get into an academy with 90 points, then it would be a strange thing. If he did this question, then he would be in the limelight, but the benefits would not be much. At best, he would be able to change his ranking from second to first, and then he would be able to participate in the semifinals as the first, but there would not be any substantial rewards. Regarding the exposure of his memory in this kind of place, Ning Cheng was not very worried. The Yixing mainland and Earth were different. This was a true cultivation mainland. There were all kinds of strange people, and he was not the only one with a powerful memory. Moreover, in the future when his spiritual consciousness became stronger, his memory would become secondary. What Ning Cheng was interested in was whether or not there would be any substantial rewards, but now that he did not have any rewards, he did not want to be in the limelight. After all, he still had the mysterious yellow bead in his body. Since the last time when the mysterious yellow origin had reshaped his meridians, it had integrated with him. Ning Cheng believed that an average person would absolutely not be able to see that he had the mysterious yellow bead, but it was always better to be careful. Since he had already achieved his goal, why would he want to be in the limelight? Ning Cheng quickly finished the 9 questions, leaving only the 10th question that he did not fill in. Seeing that half an hour was about to pass, the middle-aged beautiful woman suddenly opened her mouth and said, "This written exam is the same as the previous ones, but there is also an extra question, and the extra question is also 10 points. I will be the one to answer the extra question. Please listen to the question." Ning Cheng then understood that the full score was 110 points. If he knew how to answer the extra question, then as long as it was not particularly eye-catching, he would not continue to pretend that he did not know how to answer it. Seeing that all the people were ready with a pen and paper, the middle-aged beautiful woman spoke in a slow voice. "We were just looking at the basic spiritual grasses, and now we are going to give the extra question to the simplest spiritual grasses. The question is as follows. There are now 10 different kinds of spiritual grasses. If you are required to pick out 6 of them to refine into a furnace of pills, how many ways are there to pick them?" This question sounded very simple, and some of the people were already excitedly picking up their pens and combining them on a piece of white paper. But Ning Cheng was shocked. Was there really a question of permutation and combination? It took him less than 3 seconds to figure out the answer. The answer was 210. But if one thought that this question was very simple, then it would be a big mistake. In just a few minutes, it would be very difficult to list 210 different combinations. Sure enough, the examinees who had started to use their pens to arrange the combinations immediately knew the difficulty of this question. It was not a matter of a few or a few dozen, it was even more than a few dozen. The last bit of time quickly passed by, but the people who could really calculate the results like Ning Cheng were very few. Time is up. Please use the jade card that you used to enter the written examination room to press down on the answer sheet. After 5 breaths, the answer sheet will be directly transmitted away. Hearing that after 5 breaths, the answer sheet would be transmitted away, the examinees who were still arranging the spiritual grasses quickly wrote down a number and pressed their jade card on the answer sheet. Ning Cheng had already finished answering the questions. When his answer sheet was transmitted away, he followed the crowd of people who were squeezing out of the examination room. Ning Cheng had just come out when Ji Luofei, who had been waiting for a long time, anxiously ran over and asked, "How are the results of the written examination?" "There should not be any problem on the list. The list will come out in a moment. Let's wait outside the big screen." Ning Cheng pulled Ji Luofei out of the crowd. Outside the Moze Grand Plaza's 6 huge array formation screens, at this time it was already crowded with people. All the people were waiting for the results of the written examination to come out. Because the 5 preliminary written examinations had already ended, all the people began to talk about the questions. When the others heard that the 5th round was to memorize nearly 5,000 pages of spiritual grasses in 3 hours, and even without the use of spiritual sense, they immediately became speechless. Then someone said that the previous few rounds were also to memorize around 4,000 pages of spiritual grasses. Those who did not participate in the preliminary round did not even have the slightest bit of hope. This kind of examination definitely did not have any chance. Big Brother Yang this time is definitely the first. I guess that after the score of 94 points came out, the teachers who marked the paper would not dare to believe it. Not far from Ning Cheng, a young girl wearing a pink robe covered her mouth with her hand and spoke with a chuckle. "Do you still need to say it? You can see that the 3rd place only has 76 points. The difference between him and senior apprentice Brother Leng is too far." Someone next to the young girl immediately echoed. A man wearing a white robe quickly humbly cupped his hands and said, "The results of the 5th round have not yet come out. It is still too early to say that I am the first." "Big Brother Yang, you are 100% the first. I guess that the only person with a pure spiritual root who is willing to participate in the preliminary written examination is Big Brother Yang." This young girl did not agree with the modesty of the white-robed man. Of course, this is what strength is. If it was someone else with a pure spiritual root, it would be absolutely impossible for them to participate in the preliminary round. What is the purpose of the competition? Isn't it just to be selected by a 5-star academy? Senior apprentice Brother Leng has a pure wood spiritual root. Any of the 5-star academies would definitely fight for him. I heard that the representative of the Thunder 5-star Academy, Ling Naixin, also has a pure spiritual root. She is already a core disciple of the Thunder Academy, but she is also the same as senior apprentice Brother Leng, and must sign up for the preliminary written examination. A gray-robed youth spoke out, and also refuted the young girl in the pink robe. "Ling Naixin? Isn't that the one who scored 85 points in the 3rd round of the written examination?" Someone asked in amazement. Apparently they did not think that the 2 people who scored high points would both have pure spiritual roots. Even if that Ling Naixin has a pure spiritual root, she only scored 85 points, so she would only be ranked 2nd, and Big Brother Yang would also be ranked 1st. The red-robed girl still strongly supported her big brother Yang. More and more people started to join in the discussion. The white-robed man cupped his fists in front of everyone in a modest manner, but his proud and complacent eyes made it clear that he would be ranked 1st. Ning Cheng also understood this person should be Lang Yang, who scored 94 points in the preliminary written examination. He remembered that Xue Yu, who had flown down from the restaurant, at that time he was also wearing a white robe and could not help but mutter, "Sure enough, if you want to show off, then wear white robes ah." "What do you mean show off wearing white robes?" Ji Luofei had just asked, when she heard someone speak out in a loud voice. The 5th array formation screen is lit up. The results of the 5th written examination are about to come out. Chapter 94. Ning Cheng saw that Ji Luofei was still looking at him and said, "I say, that white-robed guy, he only scored 94 points and wants to take the first place, he is simply dreaming. Ji Luo Fei asked in doubt. But 94 points is indeed very high. I saw that the second place only scored 85 points, and the third and fourth place both scored 70 points. Speaking till here, Ji Luo Fei seemed to understand the meaning of Ning Cheng's words and quickly asked, "You mean to say that in the fifth written test, someone scored even higher than 94 points? But I just heard people say that the fifth written test is even more difficult than the previous four. How can someone score more than 94 points? If there really is such a person, then wouldn't it be too heaven-defying?" Ji Luo Fei, who was standing at the side, could hear it very clearly. Nearly 5,000 pages of content were memorized in just 3 hours. Moreover, without using spiritual sense, was this something that an ordinary person could achieve? Ning Cheng was somewhat embarrassed as he touched his hair and said, "It is not really heaven-defying, but that person is me. It seems that the next time I will also have to get a set of white robes to wear, and then..." Then, Ning Cheng suddenly copied Leng Yang's actions and cupped his hands towards Ji Luo Fei and said, "The results of the fifth written test have not come out yet. I cannot say that I will definitely take the first place." Ning Cheng suddenly felt that Leng Yang's act was understandable. He was able to act in front of Ji Luo Fei, and was somewhat proud of himself. Thinking that Leng Yang was able to act in front of so many people, he must be even more proud of himself. Ji Luo Fei almost laughed out loud. Because of Ning Cheng's joke, her unpleasant thoughts of returning to the Moze city had already disappeared without a trace. "Sister Luo Fei, what about your test?" Zhu Mu Er did not know where she came from, but when she saw Ning Cheng, she immediately knew that the woman beside Ning Cheng was Ji Luo Fei. Ji Luo Fei, seeing Zhu Mu Er, quickly said, "The fifth test was not me, it was Xiao Cheng." "Oh, this is too bad. There is no hope. I also did not do well in the test. If I had known earlier, I would have read more of my father's medicine books. I would not have regretted it now," Zhu Mu Er said in annoyance. Saying that, she turned to Ning Xiaocheng and said, "Ning Xiaocheng, when you meet sect head Yin, just say that you made some mistakes, lest he thinks that he wasted 2 places. Just now, he was muttering in front of me for a long time, and I finally got rid of him." Ji Luofei unexpectedly spoke up in a good mood. "Elder Sister Mu Er, Xiaocheng said that he took the first place in the 5th written exam. You don't have to be too disappointed." Perhaps it was because Ji Luofei rarely told jokes, but when Zhu Mu Er heard Ji Luofei's joke, she unexpectedly froze for a moment. After a long time, she pointed at Ning Cheng and laughed. "You said that Ning Xiaocheng was the first in the 5th written exam. Ha ha, this is just too funny." Zhu Mu Er was so pleased with herself that she forgot herself. When she came back to her senses, there were already countless eyes staring at her. How shameless! Senior brother Yang is here, and there are still people who dare to say they are number 1. I'm just praising myself. There are many people like that. Senior apprentice brother Leng, that person is really shameless. He even dared to say that he was the first in the preliminary round. At the side of Leng Yang, there were already some people who were not happy with Ning Cheng's words. "I think he said first place in the 5th match." Leng Yang waved his hand and said with a dull expression, "This kind of people are everywhere, there is no need to care about it. The more you care about it, the more he thinks that he is great. If he knew that he was a clown, he would not have said such words." "Is that so? Maybe he really is the first?" A different voice sounded out from the surrounding people. Leng Yang's complexion changed, and then he saw a cultivator wearing a white robe like him, but his cultivation was higher than his own, at least he could not see it. "This friend, I am just here to discuss with my friends." Leng Yang's words had not yet finished, when he was once again interrupted by this person. "You and your friends are not talking about me, but I am here to talk, isn't that right? You did not talk about me, but you are just a bit more than junior apprentice Sister Naixin. There is nothing to be proud of. The semi-finals are not over yet. Don't you feel ashamed to say something else at this time?" Originally he was here to help Ling Naixin fight against the injustice. Leng Yang's mouth twitched a few times, although he did not speak, but his eyes showed that even if he fought against the injustice, his score was still higher than Ling Naixin's. Not far away, a young girl wearing a purple robe was looking at the lively scene, and was somewhat speechless as she shook her head. A young girl beside her spoke with disdain. This Ling Yang only scored a few points higher in the first round of the written exam. The semifinals have not even started, and he is already showing off here. Isn't it a bit too early? The purple-robed young girl smiled and said, compared to the person who said that he would be the first in the 5th round, Ling Yang is quite low-key. That's also true. Now there are all kinds of people, and all kinds of people with thick skin exist. The young girl next to her nodded in agreement. I'm sorry, Ning Xiaocheng, it seems that I have brought some trouble to you. Zhu Mu'er knew that her voice a moment ago was really too loud. Ning Qing waved his hand and said, what you said a moment ago was not wrong, I really am the first. The results would soon come out. Ning Qing felt that there was no need for him to hide it. What? Zhu Mu'er almost thought that Ning Qing was confused by her words. Compared to the upcoming trouble, the trouble that you brought is simply not a problem at all. As Ning Qing finished, his expression was calm as he stared at Lan Yinyu who was walking towards him. A moment ago the commotion here was too big, many people were looking in this direction. Since Lan Yinyu was here looking at the list, it was not surprising for her to see him. You not only live a long life, but also have more methods than I thought. You can even come to the Hua continent. I really underestimated you. Lan Yinyu's tone was incomparably cold. If this place was not the Moze Grand Plaza, she would have already started on Ning Qing. But even if she did not start now, since she had found Ning Qing, then he would not be able to escape from her hands. This time she would personally make a move on him. The list for the 5th round of the written exam is out. A sudden voice interrupted the confrontation between Ning Qing and Lan Yinyu. All the people's gazes were focused on the 5th huge array formation projection screen, as a row of names appeared on the screen. First place Hua Yu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng, 100 points. Someone had already read out the name of the first place. Each of the 5 rounds of the written exam had a first place. So the people might pay attention to the first place, but they would absolutely not pay attention to the rest of the names. But now that Hua Yu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng's name was read out, it immediately attracted everyone's attention. No one was in the mood to pay attention to who was in the second place. What attracted everyone's attention was not Ning Xiaocheng's name, but rather the 100 points behind it. This was an unprecedented high score, and was also the first person to score 100 points. In the previous 4 rounds no one had ever scored more than 100 points. Before all the people could start talking, a high decibel scream sounded out. Ning Xiaocheng, are you really the first? Hua Yu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng, that's right, it is you, the first, you are the first? Zhu Mu'er's emotions were completely out of control. She had thought that Ji Luofei and Ning Qing were just joking, but now she knew that it was not just a joke, it was even more real than real gold. It was not until this time that the surrounding crowd broke out into a variety of noises and discussions. Zhu Mu'er's scream unexpectedly did not seem to be out of place in the crowd. The first place is Hua Yu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng. How come I have never heard of this Hua Yu Academy? It should be a small academy. The 3rd-ranked Gong Junming from before represented a 2-star academy. This Ning Xiaocheng probably represents a low-level academy to participate in the tournament. That Gong Jun only scored 76 points. How can he be compared with Ning Xiaocheng? Ning Xiaocheng scored 100 points. This is the first place in the 5 rounds. Who was the one who said that the first place would definitely be Leng Yang? Now you have been slapped in the face. That's right, a moment ago I was kind enough to hear that Ning Xiaocheng was here. Who is this Ning Xiaocheng? Ji Luofei stared blankly at the 5th big screen with the name on it, and did not react for a long time. The difficulty of the written exam was something that even she felt her scalp tingle, but Ning Qing actually scored 100 points. It was simply too outrageous. It turned out that what he had said to her was true, not even half a word was false, and she was even joking with him because of Ning Qing. At this time the 6th huge projection screen showed the first place. Impressively, it was Hua Yu Academy's disciple Ning Xiaocheng who scored 100 points. Someone looked at the 6th huge projection screen and said, first place Hua Yu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng, 100 points. Second place Luo Ho Academy's Leng Yang, 94 points. Third place Thunder Academy's Ling Naixin, 85 points. 4th place Clear Sky Academy's Gong Jun, 76 points. 5th place Falling Star Academy's Yuan Liang, 74 points. 6th place Thunder Academy's Shi Men Gao, 71 points. 7th place God Wind Academy's Meng Jing Xiu, 71 points. Hey, how come in the top 7, the God Wind Academy only has a 7th place? Hearing the other people reading the rankings, some people felt that the God Wind Academy's ranking was a bit too bad. As for the top 7 being the participants from the 5-star academies, no one felt that it was strange. That Ning Xiaocheng, who took the 1st place, would soon become a disciple of a 5-star academy. Are you Ning Xiaocheng? Lan Yinyu frowned as she stared at Ning Qing in front of her. She suddenly had a bad feeling in her heart. If Ning Xiaocheng was the 1st place, then she absolutely would not be able to kill Ning Xiaocheng. It would not take long. Ning Xiaocheng would definitely be snatched away by the 5-star academies. A student from a 5-star academy, she was just a true condensation cultivator from the Ping continent. She would not dare to deal with him. At this moment, she even regretted killing Ning Cheng. Chapter 95. Where is Huayu Sect? Who is in charge of Huayu Sect? When the results of the 5th round of the written exam came out, Huayu Sect became the hottest topic. In the entire Missouri Zay Grand Square, everyone was asking where the Huayu Sect was. Those who inquired about the Huayu faction, in addition to some sects who wanted to befriend them, or some cultivators who wanted to join the Huayu faction, were the 5 major 5-star sects. If the 5-star academies wanted to find Ning Xiaocheng, who had obtained the 1st place in the written exam, then they would have to find the Huayu Academy. Ning Cheng looked at Lan Yinyu, whose face was constantly changing, and spoke in a cold voice. Fuck off, we will slowly settle our accounts later. Lan Yinyu's complexion abruptly changed. The ant in her eyes actually dared to tell her to scram. But when she thought that Ning Cheng was about to become a disciple of a 5-star academy, she couldn't help but shiver. Her position in the Falling Star Academy came from the few students with pure spiritual roots that she had brought to the Falling Star Academy, and not because she herself had any relationship with the Falling Star Academy. If Ning Cheng, as a student of a 5-star academy, wanted to hold her accountable, then even the Falling Star Academy would not be able to protect her. Moreover, an E was Ning Cheng's cousin. Once she knew the truth of the matter, what would an E do? Lan Yinyu did not dare to continue to think about it. Yinyu, you are here. Accompany me to the Huayu Academy's encampment. This time the Huayu Academy has sent out a student named Ning Xiaocheng, our Falling Star Academy. A man with the cultivation of late-stage essence-building realm came over, wearing the emblem of the Falling Star Academy. What happened to you? He had not even finished speaking when this essence-building cultivator saw that something was wrong with Lan Yinyu and immediately reached out to grab Lan Yinyu's wrist. Lan Yinyu waved her hand. Senior apprentice brother He Hong, please conduct yourself with dignity. This essence-building cultivator called He Hong was rejected by Lan Yinyu, but he was not angry. Rather, he stared at Ning Cheng, who was opposite of Lan Yinyu, and spoke in a cold voice. Did you make junior apprentice sister Yinyu angry a moment ago? Immediately kowtow and apologize to junior sister Xiang Yinyue. If not for the Mo.Z Grand Plaza's strictly forbidding fighting, He Hong would have already taken the initiative to capture Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng spoke with disdain. Looking for someone to go on a date was rejected, and now you want to take advantage of this father's body? Your dog eyes must be blind. Before, Ning Cheng did not dare to cause a ruckus at the entrance of the Falling Star Academy because he was too clear about his own identity. Once he caused a ruckus, then he would be captured and killed. It would be like a soap bubble popping. There would not be even half a ripple. But now, it was different. He was the first in the preliminary list. No one dared to casually blow him away like he was a soap bubble. Courting death. Even if He Hong could endure it, he could not stand a mere low-leveled cultivator ridiculing and scolding him as he raised his hand to grab Ning Cheng. Even if he wanted to condemn him for starting a fight in the Grand Plaza, he also had an excuse. The opposite party was just a low-leveled cultivator who dared to curse him, an essence-building senior. Ning Cheng, on seeing He Hong make his move, did not have even half a shred of hesitation. The spear behind his back was already in his hands. He must make this He Hong look good. wait until he crippled He Hong's hand with this spear. He believed that after this shot, the person in charge would also come. At that time, he would report his name, and he would definitely not suffer too much. So, a powerful aura surged over. He Hong's complexion immediately changed, as he abruptly stopped his palm that was about to explode towards Ning Cheng. He Hong did not continue to make his move. Ning Cheng also would not take the initiative to use his spear. If He Hong had already stopped, and he still wanted to take the initiative to provoke him, then even if he was in the right, he would not be in the right. Even if he did not make a move, he still needed to have absolute strength. As long as you have the strength, then even if you made the first move, other people would not ask you for the reason. Even if you said that the other party was not pleasing to the eye, no one would say that the reason was wrong. Even if other people would echo and say that, that's right, this guy did not look pleasing to the eye. Unfortunately, he currently did not have that kind of strength. Falling Star Academy's He Hong greets Deacon Jia. He Hong quickly cupped his hands in greeting. He knew that in front of this Deacon Jia, he was simply not worth anything. This Deacon Jia was called Jia Han, and was one of the deacons of the Moz City's Grand Plaza. With the cultivation of profound congealing 6th level, he simply could not be compared to him. You are an essence-building cultivator from the Falling Star Academy. Don't you know that fighting is not allowed in the Moz Grand Plaza? Although this Jia Han was questioning He Hong, but his tone had already softened, apparently because He Hong was a person from the Falling Star Academy. But Ning Cheng was simply an insignificant cultivator with the cultivation of true condensation 1st level. Jia Han finished and coldly stared at Ning Cheng. And you even dare to take out an artifact in the Moz Grand Plaza, you really have a lot of courage. Ning Cheng calmly put the spear on his back again, and cupped his fists towards Jia Han and said, Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng greets Deacon Jia. Because this person wanted to attack me for no reason at all, I pulled out the spear in order to defend myself. Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng did not use this name. Ning Cheng was not that stupid. Are you Ning Xiaocheng? The Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng who obtained the 1st place in the 5th written exam? Jia Han was also moved as he asked. Of course, he is Ning Xiaocheng. He is one of the 2 people from the Huayu Academy who participated in the 5th written exam. The other one is me. Zhu Mu finally calmed down. When she spoke, she was no longer startled. At least she knew that she had to bring herself out. Ning Cheng very respectfully said, Yes, this junior is Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng. Are you Ning Xiaocheng? He Hong was also shocked. He did not think that his luck would be so bad. He just wanted to act cool in front of the person he liked, and casually found the guy who obtained the 1st place in the written exam. Now he was not afraid of Ning Xiaocheng, but when Ning Xiaocheng entered a 5-star academy, then he would definitely ask him why he picked a fight with him for no reason at all. Lung Yang, who was not far away, was also shocked. He did not think that the person who said that he was the first would really be the first. Not only was he the first, but he also obtained the 1st place with a 100% score. He thought of the words that he had said before, and in his heart he could not wait to immediately pinch this Ning Xiaocheng who had made him lose face. Now he only hoped that no one would remember what he had said not long ago. But things did not go as he wished. The white-robed cultivator who had helped Ling Naixin before stared at him and said in a sarcastic tone, Not long ago there were people who ridiculed the person who obtained the 1st place and thought that he was great, and was just a clown. He really thought that he was great. He really is a clown, ha. When this white-robed cultivator spoke, he stared at Leng Yang, until Leng Yang's face turned into the color of a pig's liver. Only then did he laugh and turned away. While walking away, he also mimicked the words that Leng Yang had said before. The results of the 5th round have not yet come out. It is still too early to say that he is the first. It really is too early. At least he has some self-awareness. Naixin, this Ning Xiaocheng really is the first. The girl who had previously disdained Leng Yang with a 94% score exclaimed. The face of the purple-robed girl called Naixin also turned slightly red and said, I was wrong a moment ago. I thought that that person had a thick face. I did not think that he really had this kind of ability. Compared to the dispute in Ningcheng, the Moz Grand Plaza was overcrowded with people from the Huayu Academy. If not for waiting for Zhu Mu to say a few words, the Huayu Academy's sect head Yin Bo would have already left. But when Zhu Mu Er came out, she just casually said a few words to him and then hurriedly ran away. Yin Bo, who was depressed, came to know that the Huayu Academy had sent out the first place, but he had never heard of this Ning Xiaocheng. But after carefully thinking about it, he remembered that this Ning Xiaocheng was the one who had asked Zhu Mu Er for the second place. He actually got the first place? When Yin Bo saw that Ning Xiaocheng was indeed the first place, he was ecstatic in his heart. The Huayu Academy had obtained the first place. He did not need to look for Zhu Mu Er's father to refine pills. He definitely had the essence-building pills. Not only that, there were even more rewards. The Huayu Academy could even be promoted to a 3-star academy. But he had only met Ning Xiaocheng once, and was not familiar with him. Just when Yin Bo wanted to look for Ning Xiaocheng, he found that his station was already surrounded. Some of the people who knew Yin Bo came to congratulate him, but most of them came to ask if the Huayu Academy was still recruiting disciples. Yin Bo only brought 2 disciples to the Moze Grand Plaza. 3 people were simply not enough to entertain them. It was not until the people from the 5-star academies arrived that the order of the Huayu Academy was restored. Sect Head Yin, I am Ma Ji from the Clear Sky Academy. The atmosphere of the Huayu Academy is really different. The Falling Star Academy's Qi Lekong specially came to congratulate Sect Head Yin. Although the people from the 5-star academies were very polite, Yin Bo did not dare to neglect them for even half a moment and hurriedly greeted them one by one, and after a long time, the representatives of the 5-star academies finally settled down. Sect Head Yin, I do not know if your academy's Ning Xiaocheng who obtained the first place is here? My Luo Hua 5-star academy is most eager to recruit a genius like Ning Xiaocheng. Leng Yang, who was ranked 2nd in the preliminary round, is a good example. I believe that the Huayu Academy would also be able to rise to the next level because of Ning Xiaocheng. The representative of the Luo Hua Academy could not help but speak out. Deacon Qi, isn't it a bit inappropriate to say these words now? We just came here to sit down. Which academy Ning Xiaocheng will choose, it will be decided in the selection meeting of the 5-star academies. It will be up to him to decide. The representative of the Godwind Academy immediately said in a dissatisfied manner. The Godwind Academy was not among the top few in the preliminary round. No matter from what perspective, it was disadvantageous to the Godwind Academy. In the view of all the representatives from the 5-star academies, Ning Xiaocheng, who was able to obtain 100 points in the preliminary round, was definitely a genius. Generally speaking, geniuses with spiritual roots were not bad. It could be seen from the memory test. The higher the spiritual root, the higher the score. The higher the comprehension and the ability to react, the higher the score. Whether it was the spiritual root or the comprehension, these were the basic conditions for cultivation. The Clear Sky Academy had made an exception for the examinee Gong Jun, who was admitted to the Clear Sky Academy. Gong Jun had scored 76 points. The result of the spiritual root test showed that he had a dual spiritual root. Moreover, his main spiritual root was already white in color. Even if these were not counted, whichever academy recruited the cultivator who obtained the first place in the preliminary round, the reputation of that academy would greatly rise, which would greatly benefit the upcoming competition for the 6-star academies. Moreover, these reasons were not the most important. The most important reason was that in the Hua Continent selection meeting for the 6-star academies, there would be a written memory test. A person with the best memory test, whichever 5-star academy he entered, that 5-star academy would have a certain advantage in the competition for the 6-star academies. Chapter 96. For Lan Yinyu, the ant in her eyes told her to get lost. It was really difficult for her to accept. If it was another place, she would have already slapped Ning Cheng to death. Unfortunately, she had to get lost. She really could not figure out how Ning Cheng, a qi-gathering cultivator, could come to the Hua Continent, and how he was able to score 100 points in the 5th written exam. Lan Yinyu, who had been looking forward to the tournament of the 5-star academies, was not in the mood to do so. She knew that Ning Cheng's spiritual root was very poor, but the tournament of the 5-star academies was not only about fighting, but also about other things. Among them, the written exam was one of the most important events in the tournament. Ning Cheng's written exam results were very strong. The 5-star academies would definitely rush to recruit him, even if Ning Cheng's spiritual route was trash. Lan Yin walked away. He Hong could only dejectedly leave. Fortunately, Jia Han took into consideration the face of the Falling Star Academy and did not do anything to He Hong. Ning Cheng also knew that he could not do anything to He Hong. He Hong was an essence-building cultivator from the Falling Star Academy. Unless his strength was a lot stronger than He Hong, he could take the opportunity to teach the opposite party a lesson. Letting an outsider take action was simply not realistic. Jia Han smiled at Ning Cheng and said, "Young man, you are good. To be able to get the first place in the preliminary round, you have a promising future." In accordance with the Hua Continent's unified enrollment of the 5-star academies, after the preliminary round, the top 10 will be able to join the 5-star academies and then proceed to the semifinals. I wish you good luck. After saying that, Jia Han's figure flashed and disappeared. Zhu Mu Er waited for Jia Han to leave and immediately said with excitement, "Ning Xiaocheng, even Deacon Jia Han congratulates you. Deacon Jia is a profound congealing master and will definitely look after you in the future." Ning Cheng knew that Zhu Mu Er was dreaming. Jia Han had only said a sentence to wish him good luck, but had never said anything about looking for him in the future. His first place in the preliminary round was not worth it for Jia Han to befriend him. A moment ago Jia Han had said a sentence to wish him good luck, but it was just a casual remark. If he took it seriously, then he would be a fool. Zhu Mu Er suddenly said, "Ning Xiaocheng, among the top 10 in the preliminary round, you seem to be the only one who has not joined a 5-star academy. The other 9 people are already the disciples of a 5-star academy." Ning Cheng then took note of the first 10 names on the 6th big screen. It really was his origin. The other 9 were indeed the disciples of a 5-star academy. At this time, the sound tablet in the Missouri Zay Grand Square suddenly sounded out. The preliminary round is now completely over. The 5 preliminary written exams have determined 1,000 outstanding disciples. The finals will be held in 10 days. In accordance with the rules before the competition, the top 10 in the preliminary round can choose to join a 5-star academy. Because the cultivators from the 2nd to 10th place in the preliminary round had already joined the major 5-star academies, only Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng had not yet chosen a 5-star academy. Now I would like to invite the Huayu Academy's head Yin Bo and the Huayu Academy's disciple Ning Xiaocheng to come to the main altar in the middle of the square and choose a 5-star academy to join. The main altar has been established. Ning Xiaocheng, you have to hurry up. For Ning Cheng to choose a 5-star academy, Zhu Mu Er was even more anxious than Ning Xiaocheng. Even after saying that, Zhu Mu Er still did not feel relieved and once again whispered in Ning Cheng's ear, "Remember to ask for more benefits. You are the first in the written exam. Even if your spiritual route is worse, the 5-star academies would definitely fight for you." 2 years later in the tournament of the 5-star academies, the first round would be the written exam. Now that those 5-star academies want you, it is because they want to compete for the 6-star academy in 2 years. Originally Ning Cheng was still a bit nervous, but after listening to Zhu Mu Er's words, he immediately understood. He was still worried about the problem of his poor spiritual route. If his spiritual route was poor, then even if he was the first in the written exam, he estimated that he would not necessarily be valued by the other people. He did not expect that the 5-star academies would choose their disciples based on their memory. It was because they wanted to compete for the 6-star academy in 2 years. Since that was the case, what else was he worried about? Ning Cheng saw that the main altar in the middle of the square was already filled with people. The main altar was divided into 5 sections. Each section had a sign of a 5-star academy on it. Ning Cheng walked towards Ji Luofei and grabbed Ji Luofei's hand. Ji Luofei's face turned red and wanted to urge Ning Cheng to hurry up. But she heard Ning Cheng whisper in her ear, "Help me put this away and give it back to me later." After greeting Ji Luofei, he stuffed a storage bag into Ji Luofei's hands and then quickly walked towards the main altar in the middle of the square. This storage bag was filled with things that Ning Cheng felt were more precious, including the Imperial Jade Seal, the 5 Elements Treasure Fall Copper Coin, the Soul Wood and so on. He had to go to the main altar to face the experts who were several times stronger than him. in case he ended up being inspected, these things would not be safe on his body. As for the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng had no other way. It was impossible for him to take out the mysterious yellow bead. Fortunately, he had obtained a part of the mysterious yellow origin, and the mysterious yellow bead was one with him. Plus he was now the first, and was not going to be inspected. As such, the mysterious yellow bead should be safe and sound. Ning Cheng had not even reached the main altar, when Yin Bo excitedly greeted him. While rubbing his hands, he spoke in a low voice, "Elder brother Ning, I really did not expect that you would help my Huayu Academy to get the first place. Ning Cheng understood Yin Bo's excitement. He patted Yin Bo's hand and said, "Now I am still a disciple of the Huayu Academy. While you are the academy head of the Huayu Academy, try to maintain a bit of the demeanor of the academy head. Since I took the quota for the Huayu Academy, then the Huayu Academy should get some rewards." Some of the people with high cultivations on the main altar obviously heard Ning Cheng's words, but everyone did not care about it. After all, the disciples were selected in this way. If all the people were selected through the 5-star academies, and then took the written test, then the 5-star academies would not have so much energy. What's more, the other academies also needed to recruit some disciples. For the Huayu Academy to be able to select Ning Xiaocheng, it showed that the Huayu Academy had a good vision. As such, they deserved the rewards. Seeing Ning Cheng and the Huayu Academy's academy head Yin Bo walk up to the main altar, the crowd of onlookers around the public square suddenly issued out a variety of annoyed voices. "Ning Xiaocheng was originally him, I know. He came to our Golden Feather Academy to ask for a quota, but we did not give it to him. If I had known earlier, then I would have given it to him, alas. I also know, he also went to our Jade Cauldron Academy station. Our Colored Light Academy's Ning Xiaocheng also went there. What a pity." Unfortunately, there were a lot of voices because Ning Cheng, in order to find a quota for the preliminary round, had to go to a lot of places. But he was rejected without exception. When the people heard that he had a multi-line hybrid spiritual root, they simply did not give him a chance. "How can Ning Cheng come here?" Ji Yao he also saw Ning Cheng, and was immediately shocked. Then she understood that Ning Cheng was that Ning Xiaocheng who had obtained the first place. After understanding that Ning Cheng was Ning Xiaocheng, Ji Yao he's heart was filled with a storm. She was not shocked because Ning Cheng had obtained the first place in the written test, but because Ning Cheng already had the cultivation of true condensation first level. When she had first seen Ning Cheng only had a rubbish 4-line hybrid spiritual root. With this kind of qualification, how could he advance to the true condensation first level so quickly? There was definitely a problem. Ji Yao he and Lan Yinyu were different. Lan Yinyu still had the cultivation of true condensation realm. Even if Ning Cheng did not conceal his cultivation level, she could only vaguely feel Ning Cheng's cultivation level. She had a preconceived notion, and absolutely did not believe that Ning Cheng was a cultivator in the true condensation realm, so she simply did not care about it. Ji Yao he was a cultivator in the essence building realm, and since Ning Cheng did not conceal his cultivation level, she could see that Ning Cheng had the cultivation level of true condensation first level. After understanding that Ning Cheng had the cultivation level of true condensation first level, Ji Yao he's heart suddenly started to beat wildly. Ning Cheng absolutely had a huge opportunity, otherwise it would be impossible for him to advance to the true condensation first level so quickly. At this moment, she almost focused all of her attention on Ning Cheng. She wanted to know how Ning Cheng would explain his cultivation progress. Ning Cheng walked up to the large main altar, and cupped his fists as he turned around and said, "Ning Xiaocheng greets the seniors." He did not know any of the people on the altar, but he knew that the people on the altar were not simple characters, they were all incomparably powerful existences. He estimated that the worst of them were essence-building cultivators. Ning Cheng had just finished greeting them when he felt countless spiritual consciousness sweep over him. This made Ning Cheng secretly startled. Fortunately, he had already taken away the things in the storage bag, otherwise, the things in the storage bag would not have been exposed. He really did not know for sure. Not bad compared to those geniuses with pure spiritual roots, they are not the least bit worse. An old man sitting under the sign of the Clear Sky Academy commented with a smile, and then spoke to Ning Cheng in a pleasant manner, You can sit down first. I am a Tier 4 Talisman Grand Master from the Clear Sky Academy, Ming Hao Kuo. Your performance on the stage was very calm, moreover your memory is also very strong. No matter what kind of spiritual route you have, the door of my Clear Sky Academy is always open for you. What is the use of talismans? Ning Xiaocheng's memory of spiritual grasses is very clear. Only by joining my Luo Ho Academy would you be able to display your full potential. Ning Xiaocheng, I am Cheng Xian from the Luo Ho Academy. I can let you become a disciple of a pill master from my Luo Ho Academy. Not waiting for Ming Hao Kuo from the Clear Sky Academy to finish speaking, a middle-aged cultivator from the Luo Ho Academy interrupted Ming Hao Kuo's words. Then the people from the Falling Star Academy, the God Wind Academy and the Thunder Academy began to talk about the benefits of joining their respective academies to Ning Cheng, and even promised Ning Cheng a variety of things. Ning Cheng was very clear in his heart that these old guys would burn the bridge after crossing the river. Do not look at how polite they were to him, a true condensation first-level cultivator. It was absolutely not because his qualifications were good. Moreover, even if he had the qualifications of a pure spiritual root, he estimated that it would still be impossible for so many people to snatch him. The reason for this was to cope with the upcoming competition for the 6-star academies. As long as they could get him, it would mean that they would be able to get a lot of points in the written exam. At this moment in the eyes of others, he was just a score. What they were trying to snatch was not Ning Cheng, but to compete for the score of the 6-star academy assessment. Once the 6-star academy was selected, then where would Ning Cheng go? These old guys would absolutely not even look at him in the eye. Understanding this point, Ning Cheng's performance was even more calm. He once again cupped his fists and respectfully said, "Thank you seniors for your love for this junior." This junior had originally intended to go to the Clear Sky 5-star Academy. Yes, coming to our Clear Sky 5-star Academy is the right choice. You will absolutely not regret it. When Ming Hao Kuo heard Ning Cheng's words, he immediately stood up with a smile on his face. He had already planned to welcome Ning Cheng to join them. Ning Cheng deliberately sighed and said, "In order to enter the Clear Sky 5-star Academy, I deliberately looked for a Clear Sky Command Medallion, but when I went to register, the Clear Sky Command Medallion was confiscated by the Clear Sky Academy. Moreover, they even taught me a lesson. Fortunately, I was very tactful and quickly did not want the Clear Sky Command Medallion, and thus escaped a calamity." What? Which bastard actually dared to not take away the Clear Sky Command Medallion, and even drove away the first place in the preliminary round? Your father, will peel off his skin. Ming Hao Kuo almost jumped up 3 feet high. This was too much. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart, "What you owe this father, I will slowly pay you back with interest, so that you will not lose your grandfather's Clear Sky Command Medallion." Chapter 97. In just a little while, the middle-aged man who did not drop the Clear Sky Command Medallion was brought to the altar in the public square. At this time his face was pale, and his whole body was trembling. He did not have the awe-inspiring aura that he had when he dropped the Clear Sky Command Medallion. If he had known that Ning Cheng would obtain the first place in the written examination, even if his cultivation was abolished, he would not have dared to do such a thing. "Hey, Symbol Master Ming, the Clear Sky Academy is a mixture of good and bad, with such a person existing, in the end, alas." A woman from the Thunder Academy deliberately sighed. It was obvious that she wanted to hit him while he was down. Her meaning was that the Clear Sky Academy having such a person existing was really not a good choice. Ming Hao Kuo's face was livid as he stared at the man with the cultivation of Qi gathering 9th level and said, "First hand over the Clear Sky Command Medallion. For my Clear Sky Academy to have such a scum like you, it is really a disgrace." This middle-aged man with the cultivation of Qi gathering realm had just handed over the Clear Sky Command Medallion while trembling. He did not even have the time to defend himself, when he was slapped by Ming Hao Kuo and turned into minced meat. After killing this Qi gathering cultivator, the anger on Ming Hao Kuo's face instantly disappeared, as if nothing had happened. He smiled as he once again returned the Clear Sky Command Medallion to Ning Cheng and said, "It is inevitable that there are some vermin in the academy. Fortunately, this person was an outer sect disciple. The inner sect disciples of my Clear Sky Academy are definitely the cream of the crop. In fact, you could have found him at that time. If he had dared to drop your Clear Sky Command Medallion, you could have directly told me any of the deacons of the Clear Sky Academy. They would have been able to solve the problem. Ning Cheng was not polite. This Clear Sky Command Medallion was originally his. After thanking him, he took the Clear Sky Command Medallion and sighed and said, "Alas, I was trying to explain at that time, but at that time an Essence Building Senior came to the Clear Sky Academy. He seemed to be called Marshal Uncle Jing. He simply did not want to listen to any of my words, and directly told me to get lost. He said that this was a 5-star academy, and that I was not allowed to be long-winded. When I left, my heart was still very sad. The Clear Sky Academy was the place where I dreamed of going, but after this matter, my dream was shattered." After listening to Ning Cheng's words, Ming Haoku's complexion was not as simple as it seemed. He had never thought that the Clear Sky Academy would take the initiative to kick him out of the evaluation of a 6-star academy. At this time, he did not have the face to continue to invite Ning Cheng to join the Clear Sky Academy, and directly said to Ning Cheng, "Ning Xiaocheng, I will go and look for that bastard. If you want to join my Clear Sky Academy, then you can come at any time, but you absolutely do not need the Clear Sky Command Medallion." After Ming Haokwa left, only the other 4 academies were left to compete for Peace City. "Ning Xiaocheng, this time my Falling Star Academy has the most cultivators with pure spiritual roots. Why don't you join my Falling Star Academy?" A thin and weak-looking man with the cultivation of profound congealing realm from the Falling Star Academy spoke to Ning Cheng and Yen. The tone of his voice was just like that of a big bad wolf seeing a little white rabbit. Ning Cheng quickly cupped his fists and replied, "In fact, before I was ready to join the Clear Sky Academy, I was planning to join the Falling Star Academy. I have a cousin with a pure spiritual root who has already joined the Falling Star Academy. I think that if my cousin and I go to the same academy, it would be for the best." "Your cousin is in the Falling Star Academy, and also has a pure spiritual root? Then why are you still hesitating? You should also join my Falling Star 5-star Academy." This man with the cultivation of profound congealing realm had an excited expression on his face. What he saw was not Ning Cheng, but a pile of points. Ning Cheng once again sighed, "My qualifications are not as good as my cousin, so I was rejected by senior apprentice Sister Lan Yin from the Clear Heart Academy. I did not care about it. As long as my cousin joined the Falling Star Academy, it would be fine. But what I did not think was that senior apprentice Sister Lan Yin would use the excuse that I would delay my cousin's cultivation and chased me everywhere to kill me. I had nowhere to escape and could only escape into the Dawn Forest. Fortunately, I happened to come across a spiritual essence spring pond in the Dawn Forest. I cultivated in that spiritual essence spring pond for nearly a year and unexpectedly cultivated to the Qi Gathering 9th level. Afterwards in the Yuan continent, I was able to obtain a true condensation pill from Pill Master Mulberry. I did not think that I would be lucky enough to succeed in the true condensation realm. Alas, if not for this matter, me and my cousin would both be in the Falling Star Academy, but now, I do not have such thoughts." Ning Cheng said these words. In addition to digging a pit for Lan Yinyu, he also wanted to explain that his spiritual root qualifications were poor and that his cultivation was so fast. He did not want to wait for others to ask and then explain. This man with the cultivation of profound congealing realm, after listening to Ning Cheng's words, also flew into a rage. A true condensation cultivator from the Clear Heart Academy even dared to obstruct the Falling Star Academy from recruiting the first place in the preliminary round. He did not care that Ning Cheng was not the first place at that time. As long as the consequences of this matter were caused by Lan Yinyu, he would definitely teach Lan Yinyu a lesson. Seeing the Clear Sky Academy and the Falling Star Academy simultaneously being rejected by Ning Cheng, an old man from the God Wind Academy who had long wanted to speak stood up and said, "Ning Xiaocheng, I think that the God Wind Academy is the most suitable place for you. My God Wind Academy can not only give you a separate immortal cave, but also let you enjoy the treatment of a core disciple. If your spiritual root is deficient, you can also come and go freely." The old man from the God Wind Academy said with great enthusiasm. Ning Cheng was moved in his heart. He understood the meaning of the old man's words. Since he had participated in the preliminary round to join a 5-star academy, then his spiritual root should not be too good. In the 5-star academies, the core disciples with good spiritual roots were protected. If they did not reach a certain level, then they would be restricted from going anywhere. Because of this, among the top 10 in the preliminary round, only the 7th place was from the Godwind Academy. It can be said that among the top 10 in the preliminary round, the Godwind Academy was the weakest. Because of this, Ning Cheng originally wanted to go to the Godwind Academy. After all, the rarer things were, the more precious they were. Now that the old man from the Godwind Academy had spoken, he was even more satisfied. Seeing that the other 2 academies were about to speak, Ning Cheng hurriedly cupped his fists and said, "Many thanks for the senior's kindness. This junior wanted to go to the Godwind Academy. Because this junior's spiritual root is a multi-line hybrid spiritual root, and was only able to advance to the true condensation first level by chance. The Godwind Academy does not care about the strength of one's spiritual root. For this junior it could not be better. But this junior has a small request." Although the old man from the Godwind Academy invited Ning Cheng, but in his heart he did not have even half a shred of confidence. Among all the 5-star academies in the Hua continent, the Godwind Academy was the weakest and also the worst. So in the competition for the 6-star academies, they were also the least confident. It could even be said that they were accompanying the Crown Prince to study. Now that Ning Cheng had joined them, at least he would be able to get a good score in the written exam. Even if he lost in the end, he would not lose too much face. Because he had also heard a rumor, that was, once one of the 5-star academies was promoted to a 6-star academy, then one of the 4-star academies in the Hua continent would be promoted to a 5-star academy. But if the Godwind Academy's results were too bad, then they might even be squeezed out of the 5-star academies. "What is your request? You can just say it." The old man from the Godwind Academy was even more excited as he spoke. As for Ning Cheng saying that he had a multi-line hybrid spiritual root, he directly ignored it. Before, Ning Cheng had said that he had obtained a spiritual essence spring pond, but was only able to advance to the true condensation first level. It could be seen that this Ning Xiaocheng's qualifications were really not that good. "I have 2 friends, who also want to join the Godwind Academy with me. I don't know." Ning Cheng had already received a hint from Zhu Mu Er, and at this time he certainly had to state his conditions. Of these 2 friends, other than Ji Luofei, the other one was naturally Zhu Mu Er. After getting to know Zhu Mu Er, Ning Cheng knew that this Zhu Mu Er had a straightforward personality and was not a scheming person. Coupled with the fact that he had obtained some benefits from Zhu Mu Er, it was only right for him to give a spot to Zhu Mu Er. As for whether Zhu Mu Er wanted it or not, it was her own business. He must join a 5-star academy. Not only did he want to seek an opportunity to go to an intermediate class continent, but he also wanted to take advantage of the 5-star academies to study. Because he had not studied systematically, he felt that compared to the cultivators of the same level, some of the basic things that he understood were very few. Of course, as long as your 2 friends' spiritual roots are not bad, then they can enter the inner sect of my Godwind Academy. The old man from the Godwind Academy agreed to Ning Cheng's request without any hesitation. After the old man finished, he seemed to think that he should introduce himself, and quickly added, "I am the Godwind Academy's Lu Xian, who is in charge of external affairs. If you come to my Godwind Academy, if you have any difficulties, then you can directly look for me." Seeing that Ning Cheng had already decided to join the Godwind Academy, although the other 2 5-star academies were very disappointed, but they could do nothing about it. Luofei? Ning Cheng, along with Ji Luofei and Zhu Mu Er, followed the people from the Godwind Academy. Jiao he could clearly see them. When she recognized Ji Luofei, she almost called out. Fortunately, she knew that she could not call out Ji Luofei's name. Ji Luofei was a person that the Shui clan had taken a fancy to. Once the Shui clan came to know that Ji Luofei had returned to the Moze city, and was even mixed up with Ning Cheng, it would definitely not be good for Ji Luofei. She did not care about Ning Cheng's life or death, but Ji Luofei was after all her niece. She wanted Ji Luofei to marry into the Shui clan, although it was for her own sake, but she also wanted to help Ji Luofei. Ning Cheng was just a disciple of the Godwind Academy, and could not contend against a colossus like the Shui clan. Thinking until here, he decided not to look for Ji Luofei for the time being. That is Luofei, It must be Luo Fei. Luo Fei really came to the Hua continent. In the corner of the Mo City's Grand Plaza, a middle-aged beautiful woman was also staring at Ji Luo Fei, but her voice was trembling and her expression was also extremely excited. When she first saw the girl with a veil covering her face beside Ning Qing, she immediately knew that it was her daughter, Ji Luo Fei. This middle-aged beautiful woman was Xiong Qihua. After Ning Qing recognized her, she could no longer stay in the Dawn Forest for even a day. She wanted to come out to look for her daughter, Ji Luo Fei. The man beside her was Zhu Hongwen. His heart was also filled with bitterness. Zhu Hongwen actually did not want Xiong Qihua to see Ji Luo Fei so soon. So when Xiong Qihua was preparing to go to the Ping continent, he took the initiative to ask Xiong Qihua to first go to the Yuan continent to look for her daughter, Ji Luo Fei. Of course, since the relationship between Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei was not ordinary, since Ning Cheng went to the Yuan continent, then Ji Luo Fei would definitely be in the Yuan continent. Xiong Qihua used her own measure to measure others. No matter where she went, it was always right to follow the person she liked. So she felt that what Zhu Hongwen said was right, and left the Dawn Forest to go to the Yuan continent. After arriving at the Yuan continent, the two of them came to know that the Hua continent's Mo City was holding a joint disciple recruitment event for the 5-star academies. Zhu Hongwen also said that Ji Luo Fei would certainly be like many other people, and would definitely go to the Hua continent's Mo City. Perhaps Ji Luo Fei's qualifications were good, and would be selected by the 5-star academies. Ji Luo Fei was Xiong Qihua's daughter. Xiong Qihua certainly would not think that her daughter's qualifications were not good, so the two of them rushed from the Yuan continent to the Hua continent. If not for Zhu Hongwen's experience in the Thunderfall Desert and the safety route map, the two of them would have already fallen in the Thunderfall Desert. What Zhu Hongwen did not expect was that when they arrived at the Hua continent's Mo City, they would actually see Ji Luo Fei. Moreover, his guess was not wrong. Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei were together. Not only that, this person called Ning Xiaocheng was also the first in the written exam. Chapter 98. Looks like we found the right one. Zhu Hongwen also said with a pleasantly surprised tone. Only he himself knew whether he was really surprised or not. Hongwen, I'm going to see Luo Fei. Xiong Qihua completely forgot about the things she had discussed with Zhu Hongwen before and rushed towards Ji Luo Fei. Zhu Hongwen quickly pulled Xiong Qihua and spoke. Qihua, I also hope that you can see Luo Fei as soon as possible, but now Luo Fei is together with that Ning Xiaocheng. The relationship between the two of them is obviously very close. I'm sure that Ning Xiaocheng has already spoken about our matter. It would be better if you don't go to see Luo Fei, but once you go to see Luo Fei, it might cause you, mother and daughter, to never have the chance to recognize each other again. Saying that, Zhu Hongwen felt that it was not enough, and added, this Ning Xiaocheng is treacherous and cunning. For him to be together with Luo Fei, it is definitely because of his flowery words and honeyed words. Since we injured him in the Dawn Forest, I am sure that he will exaggerate the things that happened between you and me, and will even slander us. Then what should we do? Xiong Qihua's complexion was pale. She did not know what she should do. Qihua, you don't have to worry about it. Let's just follow what we discussed before. Let's first follow Luo Fei and see where Luo Fei lives. Then when Luo Fei and Ning Cheng separate, we can go look for Luo Fei. Zhu Hongwen spoke with a calm voice. But Xiong Qihua's tone had already eased a lot. That Ning Xiaocheng looks quite good. Not only is he powerful, but he also obtained the status of a core disciple of the God Wind Academy. His future is very bright. I think it would be good for Luo Fei to follow him. After Ning Qing had spied on her and Zhu Hongwen's private matters, she only wanted to kill Ning Qing. But now that she saw that Ji Luo Fei and Ning Qing had a close relationship, she couldn't help but hesitate. She did not know if Ji Luo Fei would feel sad after she killed that Ning Xiaocheng. At the same time, in the depths of her heart, she felt that Ning Qing was worthy of her daughter. Qihua, you are still too kind. On the surface, there were tens of thousands of people who looked good, not to mention that Ning Xiaocheng would have to participate in the preliminary written test. His qualifications would definitely not be good enough. Even if Ning Xiaocheng's qualifications were good, with a crafty person like him and Luo Fei together, the one who would end up injured would still be Luofei. Moreover, you can see that there is another woman beside him. That woman is definitely a shrewish person. How can Luofei deal with them? Zhu Hongwen stared at the back of Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei as they left. Seeing that Xiong Qi Hua seemed to be at a loss, Zhu Hongwen's tone slowed down a bit and said that Ning Xiaocheng is not even a student of a 5-star academy, but he has already brought along Luo Fei and another woman, in the future when he has a firm foothold in the 5-star academy. He was also a core disciple. There were so many beautiful girls in the 5-star academy, so how could there still be a place for Luo Fei? What's more, if we do not separate Luo Fei and Ning Xiaocheng, it would be tantamount to you losing your daughter, Lu. I'll listen to you. Xiong Qi Hua said weakly, her tone was indecisive. Both of you have dual spiritual roots? In the residence of the God Wind 5-star academy, Deacon Lu Xian came to know that Ji Luo Fei and Zhu Mu Er both had dual spiritual roots, and was even more satisfied. With dual spiritual roots and a disciple with a good main spiritual root, not to mention an inner sect disciple, even if their performance was outstanding, they would still be able to become a core disciple. Zhu Mu Er was the happiest among them. My father had said several times that he would send me to a 5-star academy, so I relied on my own strength to enter a 5-star academy. When Zhu Mu Er spoke, she completely forgot that she had also relied on Ning Cheng's help to enter the God Wind Academy. Your father? Lu Xian asked in a puzzled voice. It was reasonable to say that a person who could casually send people to a 5-star academy should not be some unknown person. Zhu Mu Er proudly said, My father is called Medicine Master Zhu, don't you know him? Lu Xian was startled and quickly said, So you are senior brother Medicine Master's beloved daughter, it seems that I have neglected you. Ning Cheng had already guessed that Zhu Mu Er's father was not simple, and now it seems that it really was the case. Even a person like Lu Xian from the God Wind Academy was very respectful towards Zhu Mu Er's father. With this layer of relationship with Medicine Master Zhu, Lu Xian was even more enthusiastic towards the Ning Cheng trio, and personally led the Ning Cheng trio to the God Wind Academy's Jade Card, and went through the formalities to enter the God Wind Academy. After 10 days there will be the semifinals. The semifinals will test the ability to comprehend. The top 1,000 must participate. Do you want to move to the God Wind Academy to live here? In order to prepare for the semifinals 10 days later? Although Ning Cheng was already a disciple of the God Wind Academy, but Lu Xian still cared about Ning Cheng's opinion when he spoke. Many thanks Deacon Lu, I still have some personal matters to attend to, so I will not be staying here for the time being. But I will not leave the Mo-Zhe city. Moreover, in 10 days' time I will participate in the semifinals. Ning Cheng quickly refused. He had the mysterious yellow bead on him. If not for the fact that he had no other choice, he did not want to live together with a profound congealing master. Of course you have to prioritize your own matters. After 10 days, you can directly come to the Mo-Zhe city's plaza. Towards Ning Cheng, Lu Xian was incomparably tolerant. Ning Cheng was not interested in staying in the God Wind Academy station, and Ji Luo Fei obviously would not stay here. It was even more impossible for Zhu Mu Er to stay here alone, plus she thought that now that she was able to enter a 5-star academy with her own ability, at this time, she could go and report to her father. Meaning, you see, I don't need your help, with my own ability I was able to enter the God Wind Academy? Luo Fei, in these 10 days, it would be best if we do not go out. The Mo-Zhe city is not necessarily a safe place. Returning to the rest stop, Ning Cheng first told Ji Luo Fei not to go out. And I feel that I will soon advance to the Qi Gathering 6th level, so I will stay here and cultivate for the next few days. Ji Luo Fei quickly replied, even if Ning Cheng did not tell her, she would not go to the main street of the Mo-Zhe city alone. Ji Luo Fei went into seclusion to attack the Qi Gathering 6th level, while Ning Cheng was also preparing to promote his own cultivation in these 10 days. After his meridians had been transformed by the mysterious yellow origin, wanting to cultivate to the great circle of the true condensation 1st level was several times more difficult than before. This was not because his qualifications had deteriorated, but because the resources that he needed for his cultivation were much more than before. If he did not have more resources for his cultivation, Then for Ning Cheng, expanding his meridians was not necessarily a good thing. That is to say, the resources that he originally needed to cultivate to the essence-building realm, now he would only be able to cultivate to the middle stages of the true condensation realm. You don't need to go into seclusion for the time being, I have something to discuss with you. Ning Cheng had just arranged an isolation array formation when a familiar voice abruptly sounded in Ning Cheng's ears. Ning Cheng stood up in surprise. Who had come to the room that he had arranged an array formation in, and he did not even know about it? How long has it been, and you don't even recognize your benefactor? This time the voice sounded in front of Ning Cheng, and then Ning Cheng saw a white-haired old woman wearing a blue robe. It's you? How did you? Ning Cheng wanted to ask how this old woman was able to silently come here. He had arranged a few array formations in this room, but he swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue. Since this old woman had come, it meant that the other party's cultivation was much more powerful than his own. Moreover, compared to the last time this old woman came, there was a layer of chill around her body. The white-haired old woman slowly walked to a chair and sat down. I really did not think that you would be a Tier 2 array formation master. A trivial Tier 2 array formation to me is just like a layer of bubble. It is not to the extent that I would not be able to come in. Ning Cheng suppressed the shock in his heart and respectfully cupped his fists towards this white-haired old woman and said, Ning Cheng greets Senior. Many thanks Senior for helping this junior refine an artifact. If Senior had not given me the inner armor, then this junior would have already fallen. Ning Cheng's words were not nonsense. If this white-haired old woman had not helped him refine the inner armor and the 7 Pleiades ice needle, then he really might have fallen. These two things had saved him several times. Although he was grateful, but Ning Cheng's heart was equally uncomfortable. He felt that his level of array formations needed to be improved. At least he had to arrange a trigger array formation. Once someone entered his array formation, he would be the first to know. But thinking that this white-haired old woman's cultivation was worlds apart from his, Ning Cheng felt a sense of powerlessness. Perhaps the trigger array that he had arranged was even more powerful, but the other party could still silently enter his room. This had nothing to do with the level of array formations. This was the disparity between their cultivations. You thanked me for refining the inner armor, which means that you obtained 100 points in the preliminary round by relying on your own ability, and did not thank me because of this? To Ning Cheng's surprise, the white-haired old woman said something that Ning Cheng did not understand. Ning Cheng was also puzzled in his heart. He had obtained the first place, but it was completely based on his own memory. What did this have to do with this white-haired old woman? When you received my wooden box, did you not receive the words that I left for you? The white-haired old woman saw that Ning Cheng was puzzled, and once again reminded him. Ning Cheng immediately remembered the words that the ugly youth had said when he handed over the wooden box. First, Madame Gong Sun gave this to me before she left. She said, the things that you want are inside, and I hope that you will act according to your capabilities. At that time he had thought that it was just a 7 Pleiades ice needle. What was the point of acting according to one's capabilities? Now that he thought about it, the white-haired old woman's words seemed to be referring to something. Inside the wooden box, other than the inner armor and the ice needle, there did not seem to be anything else. Ning Cheng thought until here, and immediately took out the empty wooden box. At the same time he swept out with his spiritual consciousness into the wooden box. The next moment he vaguely saw a jade strip sealed at the bottom of the wooden box. You can take out the jade strip. The old woman knew that Ning Cheng had already discovered the jade strip. Ning Cheng crushed the bottom of the wooden box, and after taking out the jade strip, he asked in a puzzled voice, Senior, what is this jade strip? You can see for yourself. The old woman spoke in a flat tone. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the jade strip, and immediately saw the contents inside. It turned out to be the basics of alchemy. This jade strip was very complex, and the contents inside were simply innumerable. The beginning of the jade strip was the basics of spiritual grasses. When Ning Cheng saw the basics of spiritual grasses, he immediately understood what was going on. This basics of spiritual grasses and the contents of the preliminary round were exactly the same, but compared to the preliminary round, there were a lot more spiritual grasses. Seeing Ning Cheng see the contents of the jade strip, the old woman said in a light voice, "I was sincere to you and helped you a lot, but you deceived this old woman." Chapter 99. Ning Cheng reacted quickly. When the old woman said that he had deceived her, he immediately understood what was going on. He had not read the basic spiritual grasses, but was still able to score 100 points. This also showed that his memory was indeed very strong. He could never forget anything he saw. Since his memory was so strong, then the old woman had given him the concealment method jade strip. As long as he looked at it once, he would definitely be able to remember it. But he had told the white-haired old woman that he did not want the jade strip, and even said it in a resolute manner. Now that the white-haired old woman caught him in the act, even if he wanted to deny it, he could not deny it. Thinking till here, Ning Cheng awkwardly said, "Senior, this junior had already remembered the contents of the concealment method jade strip, so I did not want the jade strip. This junior really did deceive senior, please punish me senior." Ning Cheng could only act like a rogue. This white-haired old woman's cultivation was much higher than his. If she really wanted to harm him, then no matter what he said, it would be meaningless. The white-haired old woman still spoke unhurriedly. "It's good that you know, since your memory is so strong, then I will not take back this alchemy jade strip. Maybe one day you will really become a top-tier alchemy grandmaster." "Many thanks, senior," Ning Cheng awkwardly said, and put away the jade strip. He still felt a little uneasy in his heart. He and this old woman were not related, but the other party seemed to be very good to him. This made Ning Cheng, who believed that there would not be a meat pie falling from the sky, unable to understand what was going on. The old woman seemed to know what Ning Cheng was thinking, and suddenly said, "Do you think that I am very unusual to you? So you feel a little uneasy in your heart?" Not waiting for Ning Cheng to speak, the old woman continued, "Initially I thought that you were an honest person, plus the one-horned flood dragon material that you gave me was of great use to me, so I decided to help you a bit. Although the level of your one-horned flood dragon is not high, but the one-horned flood dragon is a very rare thing, to be able to obtain it is already very great." Ning Cheng finally understood why the old woman had given him the foundation of alchemy. It turned out to be like this. "You should not think that the alchemy jade strip that I gave you is very ordinary. In fact, the foundation of alchemy that I gave you, even in the entire Yixing mainland, is the top of the top. If you study alchemy, then you will understand it in the future. But for me, the one-horned flood dragon is more useful." As the old woman spoke till here, she carefully stared at Ning Cheng for a long time, and then continued, "The last time I gave you the foundation of alchemy, there was another reason. The last time I saw you, you had an unfathomable aura. This aura is amazing and I don't know what it is. Why is it that when I saw you this time, the aura on your body disappeared? Or should I say, I can't sense it anymore?" Ning Cheng used his strong heart to suppress the fear in his heart, and put on a look of not understanding the situation, as he frowned and said, "Senior, do I have a great aura on me? What was that? Could it be because I went to the Spirit Pith Spring to cultivate?" The white-haired old woman gave a meaningful glance at Ning Cheng, and then shook her head in affirmation, "Absolutely not." Then she did not continue to ask about the aura on Ning Cheng's body. Instead her tone became a bit more gentle and said, "The last time you deceived me, I will not pursue it, but you have to help me with one thing." Ning Cheng immediately replied, "If there is anything that you need this junior's help with, senior, please do not hesitate to tell me. As long as this junior is able to do it, this junior will definitely not decline. You should be almost the same. I have seen the last additional question of the 5th written exam. You were able to solve this question in such a short period of time, without even using your spiritual sense. It shows that you have a special ability, that is, your computing ability is extremely strong." The old woman's words had an unquestionable tone. Ning Cheng knew that, whether he was willing or not, he would have to help her. As such, he simply kept his mouth shut. The white-haired old woman did not change her mind because of Ning Cheng's attitude and continued, "At the intersection of the Thunder Fall Desert and the Hua continent, there is a river. This river is called the Thunder Fall Scorching River. In this Thunder Fall Scorching River there is something. For this thing I have been preparing for many years. But even after I had prepared everything, I found that I still could not obtain this thing. Your mental arithmetic ability is extremely strong. Perhaps you can help me with something. Ning Cheng did not even think about it, and directly said, yes, after I finish the semifinals, I will accompany Senior to the Thunder Fall Scorching River. He knew that even if he did not want to go, this white-haired old woman would still ask him to go. Now he could only hope that after this old woman obtained this thing, she would not kill him. But this old woman looked like a good person. It was reasonable to say that she would not kill him. No, you will accompany me now. At most it will only take 2 or 3 days. Your semifinals are still about 10 days away. There is no delay at all. The white-haired old woman simply said. Ning Cheng was just about to say that they would not be able to reach the edge of the Thunderfall Desert in 2 or 3 days, but thinking about the cultivation of the opposite party, he understood that the old woman in front of him would not be able to reach the edge of the Thunderfall Desert in 2 or 3 days. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart and said, since that is the case, then let's go together. I will go and speak to my companion, so that she will not be anxious if she cannot find me. No, your little woman is currently in seclusion. It would be best if you do not disturb her. The white-haired old woman did not wait for Ning Cheng to speak again, and immediately grabbed Ning Cheng out of the rest stop. Ning Cheng spoke with some anger in his voice. I have to leave a letter. You are too unreasonable. The white-haired old woman seemed to feel a little embarrassed, and let go of Ning Cheng, but still said, I will be back soon. There is no need to leave a letter. You have a lot of time to be lovey-dovey with each other, and do not care about these few days. Facing this unreasonable old woman, Ning Cheng was too lazy to argue with her. He only hoped that this woman would keep her promise, and would bring him back to the Moze city in 2 to 3 days. Inside the Moze city, the old woman did not urge Ning Cheng. But she walked very fast, and in just a short time, they were already out of the Moze city. Ning Cheng followed behind the old woman, and could only speed up. The old woman did not immediately take out her flight-type magical weapon, and after leaving the Moze city, she continued to speed up. He estimated that she wanted to find a place where there was no one around to bring out her flight-type magical weapon. Because they had just left the city, there were still a lot of people walking on the main road. In addition to the cultivators coming and going, there were also some adventurers coming and going from the Moze city. When Ning Cheng passed by 2 male cultivators, he suddenly heard one of them say, Junior Apprentice Sister Yu Jing, this time Dean Man wants to take us to the Thunderfall Desert. Do you know why? I am not very clear. I heard that the ruins of the Lan Yi country had appeared in the Thunderfall Desert. Many people went to look for it, but I have never heard anyone say that they found any ruins. This time Dean Man wants to take us to the Thunderfall Desert. It is very likely that it is because of this matter. I guess that it is mainly for the sake of the core disciple trial of the Falling Star Academy. The other person replied in a soft voice. Ning Cheng immediately slowed down his pace. The voice that answered him was obviously a woman's voice. Of the 2 male cultivators, one of them was dressed as a woman. Moreover, he also caught a few keywords, Yu Jing, Core Disciple, Falling Star Academy. From these keywords, Ning Cheng was almost certain that this female cultivator dressed as a man was Meng Yu Jing. Ning Cheng slowed down his pace, and Meng Yu Jing and the other person immediately walked past him. He used his spiritual consciousness to sweep at Meng Yu Jing, and found that her face was covered with a veil that blocked his spiritual consciousness. However, Ning Cheng could see from her exposed eyes that she was an absolute beauty. Her eyes were incomparably beautiful. If not for Meng Yu Jing covering her face, Ning Cheng would have gone up to her to talk to her, and then hand over the things to her. What the hell are you doing? Hurry up, don't dawdle. The white-haired old woman did not know when she suddenly arrived at Ning Cheng's side, but she was very dissatisfied with Ning Cheng dawdling behind her. Ning Cheng quickly said, Senior, one of the 2 people who just passed by is called Meng Yu Jing. I saw her go out with the other person. I just happened to have something to look for her, so I will have to delay a little bit and follow them from behind. The white-haired old woman frowned and said, Ning Cheng, you already have a woman called Ji Luo Fei. Don't fall in love with her. The true cultivator's world is filled with countless beautiful women. You might not even like them all. Besides that, Meng Yu Jing is a peerless beauty. and is also a proud disciple of the Falling Star Academy, even if you are a disciple of the Godwind Academy, and even if you were the first in the preliminary round, she would not even look at you. You should just give up on this idea. Senior Gong-sun, I don't have the hobby of falling in love with anyone I see. Even if it is Ji Luo-fei, we are just friends. The reason why I am looking for Meng Yujing is because I really have something to do. It is very difficult for me to meet her. Now that I have met her, of course I have to talk about it. Ning Cheng said in a somewhat uncomfortable manner. This old woman was using herself as a measure for others. When did I fall in love with anyone I see? Even if it was with Ji Luo-fei, there was also a reason for it. Then why don't you just go up and say it? The old woman said with some impatience. Ning Cheng simply refused. No, I have to first investigate her character. Then I will determine if I have something to do with her. Meng Yujing was Ko Hong's fiancée, and now she was very intimate with another man. If Meng Yujing was really like that Xiong Chi-hua, then Ning Cheng was not willing to hand over Ko Hong's things to her. He had obtained some benefits from Ko Hong, so he had to be responsible for Ko Hong. He believed that even if Ko Hong was alive, he would not be willing to see his fiancée being intimate with another man. The white-haired old woman helplessly said, "Since that is the case, then let's follow her. It is really difficult for me to ask you for help. When you first came to me to refine artifacts, when you asked me to teach you the basics of alchemy, didn't I hesitate? I even gave you an inner armor." You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.